Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Ring the bell and make it official. We need a kicker again.
Yay.
Holy.
Has the bell stopped ringing since last week? Or
Man.
Is
Here's
what
so last night as I'm thinking about this, McNuggets, you don't know because you haven't been a lifelong fan like we have. Without Phil Dawson, we've never had a kicker.
Ever.
Ever.
I think the closer, does Matt Barr count?
No. You're talking about in the Reaper.
Right, okay. Okay.
Like, we might as well go back to leather helmets and talk about Lou Groza.
Nothing. We've never had one.
We've never had one. And now there are reasons for this. Number one,
It's tough to kick here.
one of the most difficult places to play. However, when you're kicking in no winds and no conditions, and you can't split the uprights on 41, 47-yarders, even his makes were shaky.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what I came to the agreement of, and we're going to get much deeper into this in just a second. Welcome to the show. He's going to be a kicker in the NFL. I do believe that.
Just not here.
The people I talk to say he's just got way too much talent. It's done here. Ship has sailed. Fan base has completely turned. And when this fan base turns on you, it's a wrap. Am I right, G. Bush?
You can't come, no coming back from it.
It's over.
Done.
And we've seen, first of all, the Instagram nonsense. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll get to. That's such a bad.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna hold all my thoughts.
I want movement on this position more for that than anything else.
Yeah.
You know where I stand on social media use by young players. Earl, behind the glass today. What's up, my man?
Behind the glass, all about my lonesomeness.
I know.
Man.
Where is everybody? McNuggets is here.
On the production side, my man Steve is over here directing, so I'm not by myself.
But it's just the two of you.
Anthony texted us this morning and said he scratched his eye.
Scratched his eye?
Earl, am I lying? That's what the text said.
Man.
Hey.
You know what scratched his eye? That missed field goal.
Yeah, I bet you it did.
Oh, that hurts.
Remember we used to have to put mittens on babies because they'll scratch themselves?
Yeah, you're right, with their nails.
Yeah, they were like, yo, you have to cut their nails. Yeah, Anthony.
We got to put mittens.
We got to put mittens on you, dog.
I mean, he can't spell stuff right already, so it's not even same thing with mittens if he's punching away on a keyboard.
What is his name? Anthony Cantaspelli?
Cantaspelli.
That's so good. Who came up with that?
I think it was somebody in the chat.
Yeah, one of our YouTube
That's
members.
absolutely
It was somebody
brilliant.
in the chat. Hey, McNuggets was funny. He was like, we got to do better. My man can't go party at night and then show up the next day. He got to scratch cornea. They trying to beat my brother down.
All right, well, we'll make do. It's crazy. Just to let everybody watching this show at home, there's 5 people in the building. I mean, in our studio.
Yeah.
We're in the WKYC building, but we're in our own studio. With 5 people putting a show on. It's nuts.
Ain't that crazy?
Testament to McNuggets and to Earl, and normally to Anthony. I know he's not here today.
He's
but
working. He sent us some graphics today.
working from home.
Oh, listen, McNuggets be having them they be sending graphics even when they be at home. They be like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm off the clock.
Hey,
No, I need 5
put
graphics.
a patch on, bro. Make some graphics.
Well, his thing was, I can't keep my eye open long enough to drive in.
Oh, that's
So
fair.
I was like, you keep your eye open up long enough to make graphics. So,
Fair.
I guess. So I was
Okay.
like, all right, you got these 10.
There it is. 10 graphics.
Lot to get to from yesterday. It wasn't all bad. Look, it's a push. Nobody cares about the final score. Nobody cares about the fact that it was a loss, other than the fact that there was a kick that could have won it. And that was the way I had actually hoped it would come down to that. And I know you can tell Joe Thomas is rooting for the same thing.
We all were.
I wanted to see a pressure kick. I got to see 2 of them, and I got to see 2 misses. Earl, you got some business to take care of before we really dive in on Cade York. I'm not hearing you, bro.
That's Cade York right there.
My bad.
There you go.
You got to hit the button.
Yeah, before we get into the Cade, I'm missing just like Cade is. I'm on my Cade York this morning.
Just don't be posting on Instagram while you're missing.
While I'm missing, that'll be all bad,
luck.
man. But listen, while you are on the internet, hit up fanatics.com/UCSS to go get your Cleveland Browns gear before the season starts. We got, 2 or 3 weeks before the first game of the year. Let's help out each other. Use that. Get some Browns gear. Get ready to go. Not sure if you're going to be buying Cade York jerseys or not. But with that, 3 for 4, Jay.
No. 3 for 5.
No, 3 for 4.
It's 3 for 5. No.
I got into this argument with someone last night.
It's 3 for 5.
It's officially 3 for 4. If he had made the kick and then missed one, we wouldn't say he was 4 for 5.
Exactly.
The kick didn't count. It didn't count.
He missed two
it
kicks.
and we saw it with our own eyes.
He missed 2 kicks yesterday.
But
be damned what the box score said.
Officially speaking, he was 3 for 4.
Now, I got to set this up because I know me and you got a lot of similarities. Here, preseason don't matter, but for us fanatics, it matters.
That's right.
You miss one wide to the right, right?
Yep.
Philadelphia gets the penalty, you get closer, and then you turn around and miss wide to the left.
Can't happen.
We talk about preseason football and how 99.5% of it means almost nothing for the regular season. The 0.5% that does have an impact on week 1 is the kicker and the punter. That's it. Those are the 2 things that are replicable.
Who was the guy I said yesterday I was interested in watching?
Cade York.
I want to see Cade York. I want to see him under pressure. And I got to tell you, even though he was 3 for 3, and I know you don't get style points, and you shouldn't lose points for lack of style. His makes aren't the kind of makes I want. And I noticed something on his second kick, his real official miss. Do we have that on tag board? Can we show that?
We do. We have the full clip, and actually,
I want it. The reason I want to show it is I want everybody to pay attention to the flight path of his football. It started right down the middle, and it for some reason, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know where the laces were. I don't know why his balls, after being struck cleanly, are fading.
Well, hold on. On the Eagles broadcast, and we do have the clip. It's 2 minutes long if we want to play it.
I think we should.
But Ross Tucker, who came on our show 2 weeks ago, we like Ross Tucker, was doing color. I'm not sure who the play-by-play guy was. But the play-by-play guy asked Ross Tucker after he missed the second field goal, Ross, you've been calling football games for decades now. Have you ever seen the ball leave a kicker's foot with the same spin that it leaves Cade York's foot with? And it caught Ross off guard, and he goes,
You'd have to be an expert, though, at that.
I'll just say it doesn't look normal. So,
yeah, and you'd have to be an expert to notice anything, because there's the subtleties. It'd be like if I showed you a golf swing from Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, and I told you, tell me the strike plate difference.
And there is a difference, but I do think there's something to be said about a guy who has seen as much football as Ross Tucker to say, this one doesn't look. Now, Reggie Miller had a weird jump shot. It still went in. You don't have to all be the same. But it's certainly,
what's
to your
weird
point,
to me, though,
it's not normal.
to that point was it came off, and when you show it, it looked like it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
at the last
when
moment,
his ball is still apexing, it's not to the top yet. The ball should never move until it gets to the top. Yeah. Typically, a golf swing, well, when you hit not a big fade, because the big fade comes off because you're cutting the golf ball. But oftentimes, if you have a less subtle fade, it will apex and then start to move. His ball starts to move before it apexes, and I don't know what the hell. We need Phil Dawson is what we need. Can we show the clip? Earl, can we show it?
So this is the first miss. This is the full 2-minute sequence, by the way, of missing the first one, the penalty, relining up, and the second one. And this is where Ross Tucker said what I just alluded to a second ago.
You really thought that when he missed the first one, man, did this guy get a break? Because he's going to make it, and people will ultimately forget that he missed the first one. But he compounded it because not only did he miss, he missed the other way.
He overcompensated.
And I'll tell you, on a golf swing, if you have a draw, that's a better miss swing than a fade, okay? He's got both problems. Typically, he misses right, but I watch the flight path of the ball and where it comes off.
This is still the first one.
This is still the
replay.
First one.
This is the full unedited. This is 2 minutes from.
Oh, I got it. You just put it on there full.
Both kicks.
Okay, on this one, take a look at the hash marks and the uprights. That obviously indicates the middle of the field and where the flight path of the football from the time it comes off its foot to the time it crosses the goalpost. And for some reason, and I don't know why, and we've gone into the Boroquez numbers with kickers. I don't think it's his fault. This kick was on the way. It was aiming just inside the left upright, and it hooked hard. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell the deal is, but I think it was a major mistake to not bring in competition for him. I know he knows he's fighting for his job, but at the same time, there's no one looking over his shoulder, and that's a bad thing.
Listen, when I'm looking at this game, all I could do is imagine this being the AFC Championship game, this being the Super Bowl, this being the Ravens, this being the Steelers. And for me, there's a bunch of guys, you know, and once
By
again,
the way, the pressure is 100 times more.
thousands more. Look, I can look at a person and be like, he wants no parts of this.
He felt he was nervous
when
before the kick?
LeBron went up to when LeBron came up to Gilbert. Hey, don't miss these, because if you miss these, it's a wrap. This guy is going to cost you multiple games. And me and McNuggets were talking about it before the show. These games are coming down to 1, 2, 3 points. These games are coming.
That's the NFL.
That's the NFL. And if you're talking about whether or not this guy is going to be, can help you out, it's an emphatic no, because you don't know. He doesn't even know where the ball's going. To me,
right.
Like when he's kicking right now,
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery. A kicker has to go up there, trust the process, take a swing like he's going to take a swing any other day, whether it's in the winter, whether it's in the fall, whether it's a home or away, and kick and get up there and trust his mechanics. This is a guy who, to me, does not look like he trusts his mechanics or his swing, and he does not know where the ball's going.
There's two parts to this. If you cut a kicker, you got to sign a kicker. And this is where I get very nervous going into the season so late with this on our plate. You can make the decision to cut a kicker, but there's more than just the kicker's performance, as I said, that goes into that. Who's replacing him? Who are you bringing in off the street that's better than him? Mm-hmm. And that's where the kicker position becomes such a quandary. Who the hell is it?
I mean, there are a couple of guys out there that at least their track record would make me feel a lot more comfortable in late game situations.
And they're a one-year bridge.
And there's a couple of names. You got Robbie Gould, who was really good last year in San Francisco. The guys that have teams next to them are guys who are currently in camp battles.
Gould's the only one that hasn't seen a drop-off.
No, and
Mason Crosby is not the same kicker.
No.
We hear Mason Crosby, we're like, yeah, he's a hell of a kicker.
But
has not been the same Mason Crosby.
Gould was very good last year.
Robbie Gould is a guy that my eyes light up when I see his name.
Where's Nick Folk at?
Well, he's in New England, but they just drafted a kicker in the 4th round.
So one of the two will be available.
One of the two, either you will roll the dice on a 4th round pick, for the second time in a row. Nick Folk could get cut. Blankenship and Hopkins are both in kicking battles.
How many former Browns kickers are in the league right now?
A lot.
At least 3.
Gonzalez?
Joseph's
the good one.
Cyber.
I'm not sure if Cyber's still in the league, but
no, he was last year. I don't know if he is this year.
The point remains.
The reason I bring that up is, and I'm not going to use weather or conditions as an excuse for the misses last night. Those were pressure-based. If those were practice kicks, he nails them. He folded under the pressure of the kick.
Yeah.
He was thinking about the miss. Jay Feely famously once told me as he was explaining to how kickers work mentally, he said, we only think about the process. And you heard last night in the halftime interview, as Bubba was running off the field, I think Aditi interviewed him then, he talked about he's trusting the process, he believes in the process. That's the buzzword for kickers, process. Jay told me, when you start thinking of one of these two things, the situation or the result, the process breaks down.
Yeah.
And what's happening with him, he's thinking about the result. I don't know that he's necessarily thinking about the situation. He may have been last night, but when your mind is focused on one of 3 things, the process has to be 100% focus. My plant foot, my drive, my hips, where am I pointed, all of the things that go into your process. If you're thinking of the situation and you're thinking about the result, the process isn't getting your full focus, and it will break down.
I watched this. See, this already happened. Like, you can tell that it's already starting to have a trickle effect on not only people's his confidence, but the team's confidence.
Yeah.
There's a play in the 3rd quarter. It was, I think, Kellen Mond was in the game, and they had moved the ball down the field a little bit. They were within that 49, 47, 46 range, and it was 4th and 4. Kevin Stefanski goes for it. And I'm like, no, I tweeted, no Cade York here? Because this
hadn't he already made a couple kicks?
He was 3 for 3 already.
Oh, so you're saying he didn't want to spoil a perfect
That's exactly what it was.
Because I thought that too, but I also thought this. Maybe you want to work on your 4th and short package. Maybe you do.
With your 3rd string quarterback,
I get that. It doesn't make much sense.
And so it was.
I'd rather test my kicker.
A lot of people came with. They said they don't want to mess that up. That tells me that he's fragile. That tells me his psyche.
And they know he's fragile.
And they know it.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to put him in that position to ruin a good day.
So what do we do?
Well, hold on. What do we do? the one thing that I think we're missing in context with this discussion, we touched on it real quick, but the AFC's loaded, and you look at the history of football dating back to 2003. I got the numbers for you. More games are really close than there are blowouts.
Absolutely.
Since 2000, this is Corner Sharp football. Since 2003, 497 games have been decided by 3 points. That's 19% of football games played since 2003 been decided by field goal.
Or less?
No, just the field goal.
Okay, because I would have thought it'd be way bigger than that.
I'm getting there. 28% have been decided by 3 points or less, so 1, 2, 3 points.
That's what I would have guessed.
And 57% of games have been decided by 1 touchdown.
Yes.
So over half
it's a
your
one-score
games
league.
are one-score games. And in this AFC, in this version of the AFC, with as many good teams as we see on paper, in my opinion, there are 10 teams that can compete for a playoff spot this year. You lose one game because a kicker misses 2-3 kicks or doesn't convert a clutch kick.
It's the difference between playoffs and not.
Exactly.
Or home field and road.
Home field and not,
Yeah.
a division title or not. And this is a year that I think Kevin Stefanski's job's on the line. A lot of guys on this team's lines are on the line. And I can't imagine Kevin Stefanski, who has an Ivy League education, would be willing to bet his future on a 4th round. It's not the first overall pick. This is a 4th round pick. I just can't imagine he's such a smart guy. I just can't imagine he would do that.
We've all recognized that there's a problem.
Yeah.
But if you're going to present a problem, you also at the same time have to present the solution. And that's where I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. I don't think this guy can succeed in Cleveland. I think last night the pendulum swung and the fan base is done with him. And I've seen this movie before. You have as well. When this fan base has picked apart your carcass and there's nothing left, there's nothing left. And it's time for everybody involved, I think, to move on. Give him a fresh start somewhere else. Send him to a dome team. A dome, I think he's going to be a kicker in the NFL. I don't have much doubt about that.
He's too talented.
I don't think the worm is going to turn here. So, part 2 of this process is, then who? And if you call up Robbie Gould today and say, we want to bring you in, he's going to laugh. He's going to say, oh, you've already cut your kicker? Because he's not going to come here for a competition.
Yeah.
He's going to come here for a job. So, you either better be all in on this and make the change before a week 3 loss on a missed field goal, because you don't want to disrupt the regular season.
No.
Oh, it's coming.
You better do it now.
Because then he's going to come in the middle of the season, have to get indoctrinated to the levels of what your stadium looks like to win. He has to come in and do it. I would move on now, because here's what I want. I want a guy who. It's very difficult to get a rookie to come in and put that rookie in a pivotal position on a team that has to win today. Because it does not, it's almost not, he doesn't even know how to ramp that up.
Is it worth trading for a kicker, going to a bad team that has a good kicker, and making a trade?
Yes.
Could you flip? And
Who's the guy in Atlanta? I'd be calling him today, the Asian guy.
Young Koo.
I think I'd be on.
Is it Kyle Chow or
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
I think he's Korean. I would be on the phone with Atlanta right now saying, what's it going to take? Atlanta's not going anywhere this year, are they?
No.
Could you flip Josh Dobbs for a kicker? Is there any team that's in need of a backup quarterback?
I don't know.
I'm literally spitballing. No,
I don't think so.
You could get a kicker for a 7th, a 6th, a 5th.
Yeah,
right?
I would be on the phone right now talking to a bad team with a good kicker. Because I'm telling you, the guys that are on the streets, they're on the streets for a reason, people. There's 32 of these jobs in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. I think Bully's even said once. Bull said, I'm kind of harsh. I expect them to make every kick. Nobody makes every kick. Nobody ever has. There are going to be misses, but there can't be the kinds of misses that we've seen over and over with him. So you better find one that's out there, because if this season is wasted, when you finally have the defensive line figured out, and it looks like you finally have the wide receiver piece figured out, and it looks like you finally have the franchise quarterback, and you've got the aggressive defensive coordinator, if this season is wasted because of a kicker, they're going to burn the place down.
And it's not just makes and miss; it's the confidence level you have in said kicker when he goes. Justin Tucker misses kicks.
Sure,
everyone misses kicks.
But you know what? When he misses, you're shot.
Exactly.
Last night, I was not shocked.
Well, that was my question.
I expected him to miss, especially the second one.
The first one, when Cade York walked out there for the first attempt, the 47-yard.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Did you think it was going in?
Man, heck no, it ain't going in. I knew the second one wasn't going in.
I don't think he actually drilled any right down the middle.
No,
the first three
one
were
of them
wobbly.
was, another coat of paint on the goalpost and it might have hit it. It's just But guys, we present problems, but we gotta follow that up with solutions. What do you do?
I would look at,
because I'm calling Atlanta.
I would look at it like this. All right, so what's better than Cade York? Well, how many kicks? He was 78%, right?
Last year, yeah.
Okay, I want a kicker that's 85.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I don't want you missing.
And by the way, that's probably only 2 more made field goals. But it might be the 2 that save your season.
And when it comes to extra points, I don't want you really missing none of those. I'll give you 1, maybe extra point.
I think he missed 1.
He missed 2. It's 35 or 37.
So what I want
Which is pretty damn good.
I want a veteran who has made pressure kicks before, a veteran who has played and has a track record of seeing the ball go through the goalpost, and can give me an upgrade up to about 85%.
So that's Robbie Gould.
There it is.
And
so that's where we're going. We're calling his agent today
and
saying, because I guarantee you there are teams that have already contacted Robbie Gould. He doesn't want to go through camp or whatever the case may be.
It's cool.
He will be on a roster on week 1. If he's not, then I'm going to be disappointed in the Browns for not making a move to go get Robbie Gould. And by the way, he kicked in Chicago. He can kick in Element.
And guess what? It's just money. And they have enough, I believe, under the cap to make that happen.
Yeah. Why are they messing around? Just do it.
Yeah.
Think of how differently we would look at Cade York had he not made that field goal last year against Carolina at the buzzer.
Well, I don't know where the highlight is.
But you look at his season.
I don't know where the highlight is outside of that.
Even with that kick, the totality of his season was relatively subpar compared to NFL averages. Earl, I know we have that graphic that shows his average from certain distance versus the rest of the league, and outside of the closest distance right there at 20-29, he was below average and by quite a bit in the other 3 categories. Had it not have him
75% from 30 to 39 yards.
That's
McNuggets,
unacceptable.
I'm telling you, I can find guys off the street that can do that. And not maybe in game situations, but a 40-yard field goal is not a big deal.
No.
And had he not made that kick against Carolina, I don't think he gets the pass he had coming into this season of, he was a rookie. We saw some highlights, but he'll get better. Without that Carolina kick, it would have been a bad rookie year. Like, legitimately a bad rookie year.
And I'm throwing the Carolina kick in. It was still a bad rookie year.
And that's just the one.
It was still a bad year.
That's the one highlight that kind of was the redeeming quality in that season. But I don't think that's enough when you have a championship caliber roster. And I truly believe the Cleveland Browns have a championship caliber roster.
See, I'm not there yet.
Just a roster, top to bottom.
I think they're a playoff roster. Championship caliber means you like them better than, or as much as, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati.
On paper, their roster, in my opinion, is in the same conversation as those top teams, yes.
Wow.
I do.
I look at it like this, man. Sometimes it comes down to timing. You could be at a certain point in your life where you're at a company, or you're in a relationship, or you're doing something, and it's just the wrong timing. I can't date somebody who's extremely younger than me, and they still want to go out at night. I'm not going out nowhere. I got to go to work. Like,
your clubbing days are over.
That's done. Or I'm not gonna be out here doing a bunch of extra stuff. So I gotta. Yeah, you look nice, but I just understand that's gonna cause us some strife down the road. With Cade York, the Browns are in a position right now where they can't wait on people.
Right. If they were Atlanta right now, you could wait. Roll with it. They've got everything but that.
And I'll tell you this: I'm not just the same way just on kicker. I'm at other positions. Cedric Wills, I can't wait on you. Listen, I can't have you giving up sacks. I can't have you jumping off sides. You've had 4 years to prove what you're going to do. So it's just not him. It's everybody. It's that type of time that you want, and understanding the urgency, because we've seen it. Sometimes, when you visualize success, you just know that you're going to make it.
And that's what kickers do, by the way.
Yeah.
When I visualize down the road, you can't take him to Arrowhead.
No.
You can't take you can't take him
and
to
you know what?
a championship game in Baltimore.
That bad kicker demon lives. And the question is, when is it going to pop out? If it pops out in the first quarter on a missed field goal against a team you're going to win, and it's not a big deal. But as these games get more and more important, And as these opponents get more and more difficult, the pressure on all those kicks go up. And we've clearly seen he cannot wash out the situation. He's not focused on the process fully. He's either thinking about the situation or the result, and that's where the breakdown's coming in.
And think about it, as a tactician, as a general, as a coach who's calling the plays, there's some times where you have to go in and say, look, we're down this many points. Look, I know it's 4th and 2. Let's take the points right here. We got a great defense. We can get the ball back. Now you sitting here thinking, oh my goodness.
There is no take the points.
There's no
guarantee.
Now it's like I can't count on you to do that because that's supposed to be a layup.
Changes the way you game plan.
And that's a tough situation, especially when look, I'm even choking. I'm like
You choked up.
I can't even breathe.
You
now.
need some Kool-Aid.
We got to address two things in the room though, real quick. The social media post at halftime.
Yeah, we got to get to that. We only have 5 minutes left.
And I have a top 5 on Cade York to end it up. But before we do that,
you mean at the end of the show? Or the end of this
I got
topic?
things that I'm more confident than Cade York right now. Before we put it on the topic, I thought of this on the fly. But the social media post, I don't think Cade York runs his own social media.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He did not make that post
that
from the
actually
sidelines, people.
That makes it even worse.
I agree.
That a paid professional was dumb enough to put that up there.
So
at halftime,
I don't know what was said after the game. I have no idea.
That guy or girl can't have a job this morning.
There's no way Cade York made that post. If he did, I definitely need him cut right now.
ASAP.
I do. I'm sorry,
Jay's right.
I need him cut right now.
Jay's right.
We have talked about athletes and maturity and social media ad nauseum. I've had these conversations going back 10 years when I was at ESPN, and Twitter was just blowing up. I remember Andrew Luck was asked one time, why aren't you on social media? And he kind of laughed at the question. He's like, is that a real question?
He had a flip phone.
That was the right answer. He's like, I'm an NFL quarterback. I need 26 hours in my day to get everything done I need to do. And you're asking me why I'm not on social media? That's a dumb question. So I understand that this is the generation we're in. Everybody's got to make their brand. I got to be a brand. What's my brand? I got to get it out there. Nuts. Your brand is unemployment if you're spending too much time doing that and not enough time making kicks. And to your point, if he hired somebody to run his social media, the discussion was never had, look, bro, never tweet anything controversial. The fact that he would have to tell this person, whatever you do, never tweet during a game. My mind was blown.
So, on certain podcasts, and I'm drawing a blank on which one in specific I remember, but they have athletes come on and they've asked them, like, what do you do at halftime? Like, when you're waiting for your coach to come in? And some have said, I listen to music or...
I've heard people say, check my feed.
And that has been an answer I've heard before.
Rips my guts out when I
can't, I didn't play a lot when I played in college. Like,
sure.
I was a bench player for 3 or 4 years. If I went in at halftime, and no one was tweeting about D3 basketball, but had I been in a situation where people were, had I gone in at halftime,
you'd have lost your scholarship.
OB would have made me run suicide till I threw up, made me clean the throw up, then run again till I threw up again. But what's the benefit? Like, I don't understand what.
You know what the benefit is? It's the conversation of brand. I got to have a brand.
But there's no break. Just reposting something from the Browns.
Yeah, but it's just this constant noise that social media is important and that it's a big thing. You're not going to have any followers if you're Cade York, Taco Bell drive-through employee.
I have no issue with athletes getting on Twitter. I actually don't mind them getting back and forth on Twitter. Like, everyone has their right. But during a game, during those 3 hours,
and that's
3.5 hours,
Mike.
That has to be completely offline.
I wish more athletes would do this. When the season's on, I go dark. I don't have time for this stuff.
The LeBron.
It's a distraction. I don't care what anybody says. You got Kevin Durant creating a burner account, getting into fights on Twitter with fans. That's a distraction from what your mission is. Your mission's very clear. And in Cade York's case, his mission is simple. He doesn't have to learn a playbook. He doesn't have to lift weights. He doesn't have to practice 4 hours a day in the heat. He doesn't have to do anything except put an oblong brown football through 2 yellow goalposts when his team needs him. That's it. He's got the easiest job in sports. I'm not saying easiest in terms of skill set. It is difficult. What I'm saying is you have one job.
Kick the football.
Make the brown ball go through the yellow things. And anything else that takes up time in your day from you focusing on that is a distraction. And you need to cut out your job's on the line. Your career's on the line. You need to cut out every outside, and here's the other thing. God, don't look at social media today.
Yeah.
Do not dive in to social media today. Because he'll be 0 for 4 against Kansas City if he does that.
Too late.
Because am I right? I don't look at it much, but I saw a lot of people were texting me things that people were saying.
Too late.
Am I wrong in saying the city wants him gone?
No, you're not wrong at all. And it's funny because when we did Behind the Glass last week, I remember telling McNuggets, I said, you know what, for me, you come out here and you do something like you did last night, and then you turn around and you repeat that performance in week 3 of the preseason against Kansas City, I'm like you. I don't give a damn about you being a 4th-round pick. You need to go bye-bye. Because if I can't trust you to make field goals now when the weather is not inclement, and you want me to trust you at Cleveland Browns Stadium in November when the wind is just swirling.
Can't do it.
But before y'all put a bow on this,
Can't do
let
it.
me just say this. Let this be a lesson in humility for a lot of people. You don't take victory laps mid-game when the game is still going on, and then you get put on the line in a pressure situation.
Yes.
You know what
and
reminded me
fold
of?
like a chair.
We've probably all seen the video of the 100-meter dash where some dude gets out to a big lead, and he actually looks over to lane 2, and he's like, and waves by to him, and 10 yards before the finish line, he trips and falls and finishes last.
That's Mr. Freeze, right?
It's Mr. Freeze in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Is that who that is?
No,
Yeah,
well, it's not. It's the same premise.
It's the premise. The warning track guy, right? He's
Yeah,
Mr. Freeze in
yeah,
the suit.
yeah.
The guy's like doing victory laps. He's like, they give him his little lead. He's about to go across the finish line. He trips and falls, and Mr. Freeze
like,
just
runs
goes
by him, yeah.
right by him for the dub.
The victory lap thing, first of all, I'm a fan of not taking a victory lap. I am. If you win, we all know what the score is. We don't need you to remind us. We don't. We don't need you to take a victory lap. One of the reasons I so loved Barry Sanders was when he scored a touchdown, what did he do?
Hand the ball to the ref.
Here you go. I've been here many times. It's no big deal for me.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a dance. You don't need. Now, I get that that's big, and a lot of fans do like that. But win with class and subtlety, and nobody's ever going to want to rub your face in it when you fall.
Yeah.
And that's why it made it so much worse for Cade York. The missed kicks were awful. When I saw the Instagram post, and I had a couple people text it to me, I was just like, this is fake. There's no way that this is fake.
It just was the timing, the situation, the scenario, the ending. It could not have gone worse than.
Did he have to tell everybody, or did his social media person have to tell everybody?
It's been deleted, by the way. It has been deleted.
Yeah, I would have. I mean,
It's too late.
but guess what?
Posted. That's the whole
No,
thing.
I'm just saying now in hindsight.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
You know?
And I remember when I did my first show on UCSS and everybody thought it was pretty well. If I would have jumped off of here and jumped on Twitter like, I'm here now, and then my second time out, I totally bombed. You know how bad that makes me look?
Can't do it.
Just take your dubs in silence and keep it moving.
Thank
Especially when
you.
you're shaky.
Yeah, thank you. Act like winning is part of your routine.
So I don't have graphics for this. I did this on the fly. But before we move on,
I can't wait to see this.
I have a top 5 list of things I have more confidence in than Cade York kicking a game-winning field goal
Okay,
right
let's
now.
see them.
Number 1, my ability to eat $20 worth of Taco Bell and not shit my brains out for 3 hours.
That's like a Guinness record, isn't it?
It would be.
Yeah.
And I'm more confident I could do that than I would be in Cade York stepping up to kick the 50-yard
All right,
right
that's
now.
disgustingly gross, but what's number 4?
Number 4, Bull's ability to fast for 48 hours. Just saying. More confidence in that.
Oh, God.
Number 3,
Yeah, that's hard.
I have more confidence in Anthony's ability to spell conscious right on the first try than I do in Cade York kicking a 50-yard game-winning field goal right now.
Poor Cade.
That's tough.
Number 4.
Well, McNuggets is kicking your ass. It's a wrap.
Number 4, Earl said it on the show yesterday, but I have more confidence Earl could hit a step-back three-point jumper over Evan Mobley right now than I do in Cade York kicking a game-winning
And before
field
you
goal.
say, well, that's not surprising, Earl admittedly can't even cross over dribble.
Hey, listen.
Like, he'll tell you that.
Earl, you can say it. I can't say it, but you can say it.
Hey, listen, I'm the only black man in America that can't dribble between my legs. Hey, I got that clip on my social media, and everybody get a kick out of Jay saying, "Your black card is in danger, bro."
Like, let me find out you shoot with two hands. If you shoot,
Bill Cartwright all day long.
Oh, God.
If you shoot with two
God.
Yo,
hands,
push shot.
oh my God.
All right, what's number one?
Well, this one was proven wrong already, but number one was I had more confidence in Jay letting me get in this whole segment off without interrupting than I did in Cade York kicking a game winner.
You know that isn't going to happen.
And that didn't happen, so Cade, it's on you, buddy.
You're so much easier to interrupt than Bull. I got to take advantage of it.
It is what it is. But yeah.
Before we close this out, I do think it's important because we talked about solutions. We're all in agreement that something has to happen.
Totally.
Even
100%.
Even if that something is signing a kicker today to give him competition for the last week of
You can't go on status quo because whatever status quo is right now is not working.
Okay.
Can't.
So you have to look at the pool of available players. And like I said, there's 32 jobs. They're very tough. The people that aren't in those 32 jobs aren't in those for a reason, whether it's age or declining performance or you've just never been very good. You can look at that pool, and there is a pretty good kicker in there in Robbie Gould, but he's a one-year bridge, and then you're right back to where you were last year. You need to, my solution is to get someone that's already in the top 32. Go target a really good kicker on a bad team. And again, I came up with Atlanta. There's probably others, but that's how I'm fixing this mess. Because the season could literally come down to a kick, and nobody is this. If our season goes south because of a missed kick, and this is a problem that we knew we had in August, I would not want to be in the Browns front office.
And I don't want to hear no stupid people, and I don't really call people dumb and stupid. But I don't want to hear people say, well, the reason, there were a lot of plays that we could have made. This play did not cost us the game. If you say that, you have not played competitive athletics in your life. You sit at home and you watch TV, and that's fine. I don't really go this route. But do you know how painstaking it is to be on the sideline and to be running around trying to do everything you can to win a game? You're battered, you're bruised, your knees hurt, you fought for 3 hours against a 300-pound man, and then a kick happens and you lose.
The name I'm watching, and he's not officially cut yet, but the Patriots just drafted a kicker in the 4th round. Nick Folk went 32 or 36 last season.
I'll take him.
He's the guy I'm bringing. As soon as he hits the cut.
Now, he's up there in age, too.
He's 37 compared to Gould at 41,
I'm
40.
cool with
I got some stats.
But
That's old,
32
man.
or 37, 86.5 percentage last year.
He was good last year.
His long was 54. He had no field goals blocked. In comparison, Cade York was tied with the league in the NFL with 3 field goals blocked at 75%. So
Yeah, I'll take him.
that's the guy I'm looking at.
Yeah, okay, that's a
That
good
means you
one.
give Cade York 2 more weeks to show you that he's fixed it. I hope he does. I genuinely hope Cade York can figure it out. I don't have a ton of confidence that he will.
Was
That
Folk a
gives you-
Buckeye?
Nick
Where'd he kick?
Folk?
Was he a Buckeye or who
remember.
might
He was in New England last year. Then
No, I know, but did he go to Ohio State? Why do I
don't think
want to tie him to Ohio State?
I could tell you. Give me 1 sec.
I don't think he is.
Maybe not.
Nick Folk went to played in Dallas with the Jets. Where do you go to college?
Yeah, so now we can get to some people who actually play well, right?
He went to
Earl?
Arizona.
But before we do that, JG, we got breaking news. Steve, go ahead and take it full. We got a misspelled graphic that did not come from Anthony Antonelli. Breaking news. We have a misspelled graphic.
Oh,
Accurate.
there it is. Yep.
Did not
Isn't it
come
funny
from
that's the
Anthony
word he
Not
misspelled?
very accurate. Hand up, my bad. That's a terrible job out of me. Accurary.
What's
Yeah.
funny is that's the word you misspelled.
Yeah, the least accurate word on the graphic
Well,
is
you know what, though?
accuracy.
I will say this, and
That's me. Hand up.
In
My
defense
bad.
of you guys, we make fun of the Anthony Cantaspelli and the misspellings, but we don't have a graphics department. Our producers make our graphics.
There's also no
And-
spell check on Photoshop, which is bullshit.
Yeah, no,
That's
there
the
should
main
be.
reason.
There
I
absolutely
agree
should
with
be. And the other thing is, how many graphics would you say you guys pump out in a day?
During football season?
I'm thinking like 40.
On Mondays during football
50?
season, we do like 50 to 60.
50 to 60.
I mean,
yeah.
slip-ups are going to happen.
And real quick, before we get to the next topic,
That's my
take
bad,
you
though. My
behind the
bad.
glass real quick.
My bad.
So I think it was after the last Browns preseason game, McNuggets sent a rundown out, and I seen my to-do list, right? I was like, good God, let me get started right now.
It was
So for more
had
fun
a lot.
moments like that, make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We have a lot of fun around here. Ring that bell, man, for all the latest updates and things like that. And with that, Jay, you're a big fan of this guy as well. Austin Watkins Jr.
love him.
He continues to impress. I told Mikey this, and I want to know what you all think. Has he surpassed Schwartz? Probably so. David Bell, and even Cedric Tillman himself on the Cleveland Browns depth chart?
For me, not Tillman,
yeah.
but the others, yes. I mean, he's the leading. It's the preseason, so again,
No, it counts.
he's the leading receiver in the NFL preseason right now. His background is interesting to me. He was at Birmingham, right, and won the championship in the USFL. I think he's spent time with, am I right on this? The Buccaneers
Went to UAB, right?
and one other team he spent a very short period of time with, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm thinking of the right guy because I read the bios of these guys and I don't study them. But I feel like he was the USFL guy.
He was on the practice squad with San Francisco in 2021.
Yes.
The same thing with Tampa Bay in 2022.
Yes.
Then he was a part of the USFL championship team this year in 2023.
That's what I thought. So the reason I bring that up is obviously McNuggets, you know this as well as anyone, and I do too because I was very undersized when I was 15, 16 years old. Everybody has their own maturation rate. Everybody comes into their own. Stars sometimes are born, and they're dominant at every level from the second they put their foot in that pool. Others, it just takes a little bit of time. And when I'm watching Austin Watkins, first of all, the one-handed catch.
Yeah.
Can't coach that, can't teach that. That comes with a lot of jugs machine work and a lot of ability. Big hands, strong hands. Sometimes guys slip through the cracks, and I always point to Kurt Warner when I talk about guys who slip through the cracks. Kurt Warner ends up being a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback, should have won multiple Super Bowls. When you look at his career stats, he's even better now than people remember him being.
He's one of the guys that aged well, even despite different eras of football.
But they found him with the Iowa Barnstormers in the Arena Football League. Talent comes from all corners. And guys, I don't think this is fool's gold. I think this is a guy that's going to move the Browns meter when it comes to wide receiver.
He done took all that. Let's get right to it. Yeah, he done played better than them dudes. Tillman, yeah, you're a rookie. I don't count on rookies, whatever the case may be. I like your upside. That's great. The other two is not even a question. Bell, Schwartz, if you combine them, they wouldn't be better than him. If you just take the best traits that they have and put them together, they would not be better than him. First of all, he's sneaky. He's sneaky big. He's 6'3".
He's the same size as Cedric Tillman.
He's
Listed at 6'3", 210. Tillman's listed at 6'3", 215. We look at Tillman as a
Like-
big body, possession receiver. I see Watkins as a big play guy in a big body.
And
They were saying it last night. He looks like, not just because of the number,
look like Jarvis Landry.
he looks like Jarvis Landry.
But faster and
Now,
quicker.
Jarvis wasn't that big.
No.
But his routes and his I like that he puts his hands up to catch the football very late. A lot of receivers will telegraph that the ball's coming their way by doing this when the ball's 10 yards away. The DB doesn't have to look back. He knows it's coming. He puts his hand up.
And I talked to Boogie when we was talking to him. He said, I said, what is the advantage of you playing in the USFL and then going to camp? I said, that's like 2 seasons in one. He said something, and it always stuck with me, and I was going to watch it this year. He said, when you got those guys come from that USFL, they already ready to play. They already in game shape. They already in season play. Like, he's played he got his reps. He's in shape, ready to go. And when you watch him, his routes look like it. His body placement looks like it. He looks like he's playing in the regular season and everybody else is trying to get ramped up. When you got that level of production, 24 targets, like we acting like this is light work. This ain't light work.
Look at his average, his yards per reception.
14.79
is incredible.
Yeah.
They got them.
Is it fool's gold? You just made a great point I hadn't thought of. Yeah, he's coming in off a season.
Yeah. We actually got to get
he is in
Skip.
game shape.
We got to get Skip on the show next week to talk about. He played for Skip Holtz. He's our guy.
I wonder
in
if
Birmingham,
we should
right?
do that. Skip likes coming on the program.
Skip loves coming on.
And by the way,
I'll hit him. I have his
that's
number.
a great
I'll
idea.
text him.
Two-time champ Skip Holtz.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Back to back.
So what are y'all doing down there to get guys ready to go?
Yeah.
And he says he was, when we had him last time.
Do you have his digits now?
Man, boy.
I'll text him in a sec.
Boy.
Hey, check this out.
I'd like to
Not
talk to
cut
him right
you off,
now.
G, but check this out. Because he's not even that small. According to his Wikipedia, he's 6'1", 209. He runs a 4.53. And to me, if you're a route runner, that 4.53 really don't bother me that much.
No,
Because
man,
you
it
can run a
doesn't-
4.44
it doesn't bother me
and not
either.
run routes at all.
I got to look. ESPN had him bigger than that.
Yeah,
He's
I
listed
would
at
go off
6
Wikipedia.
He was listed at
first.
6'3", 210 on ESPN, so even bigger than that. The one thing that's impressed me the most about him is he's now played with 3 different quarterbacks
Right.
in the preseason for significant snaps.
Yeah.
Dobbs, Mond, and DTR.
And they're all finding him.
He's all of their number one options. The first guy their eyes are looking for, and this is a guy with DTR who played in high school with Cedric Tillman, and they clearly have their own rapport. But when DTR was scrambling yesterday, when the pocket broke down, where were his eyes going first?
Yeah, he found
Number 80. 3 different quarterbacks, 1 receiver, number one option with all 3. To me, that tells me
Well,
a
I mean,
lot
we
about.
really don't know. Was he the number one option for Watson? Because Watson
No,
only threw 3
not
passes.
Mond.
Oh, yeah,
Dobbs,
the backups. Okay,
but,
yeah.
of the 3 backups.
I got
The
it,
3
yeah.
backups who he's played with. It didn't matter who was under center. Their first read was always to him, and that means he's got connection with 3 guys already.
And they're learning that in practice.
And they're
that
learning
he's
in
the
practice.
guy that's open.
And that's my point. So
Yeah.
what we see in the games is obviously impressive.
But now we've seen before, though, in the preseason where guys have been fool's gold, and then the season starts and you can't find them on a milk carton. Is this real?
So I think there's 2 sides to this. A, he's the number one option, but Cooper, DPJ, Moore aren't playing.
Haven't been on the field yet.
So if he does make this 53-man roster and he does surpass Tillman, Bell, and whoever else, Grant, Godwin, they got a lot of pieces to figure out. He's still going to be the 4th receiver. How many snaps is he going to get? But
Right.
Earl, I made a graphic. Can you pull up the Victor Cruz, Watkins Jr. comparison graphic? Do you remember Victor Cruz's
Oh, I remember him well.
historic preseason? Well, look at these numbers. Now, Victor Cruz obviously went on to be a very successful receiver for the New York Giants, and he blew up with that 3-touchdown game against the Jets in week 1 of the preseason. But not all preseason stuff is fool's gold. You watched that game and you saw Victor Cruz play, and despite the fact he was going against 2nd and 3rd teamers, you looked at him and go, he moves like a guy who could be playing in the pros, he catches the ball, he runs like a guy who could be playing on Sundays, and he turned out to be a very successful player. Watkins Jr., when I watch him, he moves, he cuts, he catches, he separates like a guy who could be playing
I love his routes.
on Sundays with a
And the
Deshaun
one-handed
Watson at
catch,
quarterback.
the one-handed catch, when you see something like that, that's what tells me this isn't fool's gold. He did drop a couple balls, though.
It wasn't
He had
perfect.
a couple drops.
He wasn't perfect.
There's a couple that hit his hands, but a couple of those balls were thrown kind of wild, a little high, a little low. Here's the thing: I just want to see him. I want to see him against Kansas City once again. When we're talking about these things, it's everyone prefaces it with, "Oh, it's just a preseason. How do you know it's going to be?" No, preseason is to give you the opportunity, right? The opportunity comes from you doing what you need to do against that competition, and the coach is saying, "You know, let me see you with the ones. Let me see how you work with the ones. You know what? Put him in into slot on this play. I want to see how he reacts to this." And so now you get an opportunity, maybe in Kansas City, 4 wide receiver sets. He's a guy that could be in as your 4th receiver. And then you get your look. You can tell whether or not you're going to be able to play with a receiver and guys like that. And to give him credit, the Browns have found multiple guys. I count not only him, Ronnie Hickman is a guy that's a threat to make this roster. 3
Had another pick
interceptions.
last night.
Had another pick. Diabate, not diabetes.
Yeah.
We will be talking about that.
he is.
That guy is nice. And then you got DeJuan Jones. So you got these guys.
And Whippler.
Whippler played
really
a lot,
good again.
really well. So now you got a lot of guys that you may not be hitting on some guys, but how you make up for it is, I didn't hit on Schwartz. But if you hit on Austin Watkins, that's a wash.
Yeah, but I wish general managers looked at it that way. This will never happen, but what I think should happen, if it was a true meritocracy, the coaching staff and the general managers in the front office would erase how these players were
Drafted.
were acquired.
Right.
Because we've kept Schwartz around for a very long time because of where he was drafted. I think Bell is getting a look because of where. If Schwartz was an undrafted free agent last year,
Gone.
he's gone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You can book that.
We talked
He's
about
gone.
expectations yesterday. That's what comes along, the expectation of being a
You wear that
third-round
label
pick. Yeah.
of how you were acquired and what round it was in. Hell, we're probably in truth holding Cade York because he wasn't an undrafted free agent, that he's a fourth rounder.
We talked about that before the show. Cade York is the expectations. You got to make these because you were picked in the 4th round. If he's an undrafted rookie, you just go,
DTR
What to
and
be
Dobbs.
expected, yeah.
If you took Dobbs, the fact that he was already here before,
Right.
and you had DTR now, they'd be in a whole competition.
Listen, if DTR was wearing Dobbs' jersey and Dobbs was wearing DTR's jersey,
they keep two
DTR's the
quarterbacks.
backup quarterback.
They would only
DTR's
keep
the backup quarterback.
Right
they would
now.
only keep
He's
two
not
quarterbacks.
going to be the backup quarterback because of pedigree and
Yes.
how these players were acquired.
Yes.
And sometimes I think those decisions cloud their judgment. And, I mean, look, we've seen even here, we've seen this regime hold on to players longer than they should because they know releasing them admits that you're making a mistake. I would rather have a general manager that's willing to stand up and say, my bad, I missed.
That one didn't work.
I'm going to release him, instead of compounding the bad original decision and holding on to a player longer than they should when the player doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Browns receiver room, there was a really interesting nugget I saw on Twitter last night that I wasn't aware of. If the Browns want to place Marquise Goodwin, on the PUP list,
Yes.
he has to be on the 53-man roster first.
That's not going to happen.
Which means if they want to keep him around on the PUP list, someone's not making the 53-man roster because he needs a spot.
Yeah, and I don't think that. I don't
I
think that's
think
going to
he's
happen.
going to be cut because of that.
Gee, do you know? Do they have to come up with a disability compensation?
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of
Yeah.
disability.
But Tyvis talked about that.
But and I'm rooting for Marquise.
We love him.
I
We
know
love
him
him.
personally.
Yeah.
I think he's a great guy.
And he's getting
But
up
you
there in
can't-
age,
Yeah,
right?
at
He's
the peril of
32.
this team, you can't hold a roster spot for a guy that I don't know what the condition is, but we haven't heard anything, and we know what blood clots have done to other pro athletes' careers.
Chris Bosh don't tackle
Yeah.
nobody.
No, and
he
he
don't get hit.
You're not playing ever again.
The reason I bring that up, though, is Austin Watkins will be on an NFL team this year. He
Oh,
will be on a
he absolutely
53-man
will.
roster.
Hey,
It's up to Cleveland to
don't
decide
you
which
say
team
that.
he'll be on.
No. Don't you say that like as if that there's a chance that he's not.
He's
making
making
roster.
this team.
Don't
I
you do
think
that.
so, too, but I'm just saying, if
There's no scenario which
he
they
doesn't
cut
make
him.
it back to the practice squad.
No.
Like he doesn't.
No.
If the Browns decide to go in a different route because they keep a Godwin to put him on the PUP, or because there's
Can't do it.
you got Cooper, Moore, DPJ, Tillman, locks.
And I think the next spot
And you
that's a
have-
lock is his.
Yep.
Over Bell now? You
Yep.
think-
I'm not even
I
thinking
agree with
about
Jay.
it. Not even thinking
Well,
about
it ain't
it.
even
Not,
close.
oh, hold on. Not,
Now,
not,
should
not what's
this
right. Hold on, wait,
organization keep Bell
wait.
and cut him?
Wait. Not what's right. What do you think Andrew Berry? You think he's past
Bro,
Bell in Andrew
bro,
Berry's eyes?
No, Bell's likely the 6th.
So you just Godwin, Grant, Schwartz obviously, but Godwin, Grant, bye.
They go keep Bell because he's a good soldier.
He's only had 1 year.
Yeah, he's at
So
1 year.
I think, in this organization and in many organizations, you've got to really stink it up and fumble
Yeah.
to not get a second year when you're a third-round pick. I didn't think Schwartz's play in year 1 warranted a year 2. I think Bell, there's enough there that we got to at least look at him some more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope I'm not buying this and turning fool's gold into real gold.
He looks good.
But what
Legitimately
I'm
looks good.
about to say might be a surprise to some, but I think that Watkins has the ability to crack the starting to crack the top 3.
I said that. Look, I have the tweet. The Duke of Knee Jerk put the tweet out yesterday. If you can find it on Tagboard, I said, listen, Diabate will be a starter week 1.
Oh wow, a starter.
Oh, he's starting.
Say that juice though, G. When we get to the defense, I don't want you to.
No, I
use
want
up all
to
your
get.
Yeah.
But my other.
He
but,
flashed for me last
But
night.
I put 2 knee jerks together. It was
Double
both
knee jerk?
knees. Double. I fell down. I was like a deer that was born. My knees was going down. I can't move. And guess what? I said, at wide receiver number 3, Watkins got 2. He got 300 yards.
So who's most likely to come out of the starting 3?
It's DPJ.
Moore?
DPJ.
No, DPJ.
Really?
Yeah.
Moore ain't going nowhere.
According to Tyvis, Moore is that guy. He's him.
Moore's higher than him.
Hey, that's a pretty damn good. If it ends up being Moore, Watkins, and Cooper, and this isn't fool's gold, 4,800 might be in reach.
Oh, 4,800.
I'm texting
41.
Skip right now.
Couple things while Mike is texting. I agree with you. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that he can, by mid-season or season ends, be in the top 3 because I think Mike using the Victor Cruz comparison was perfect. You can just look at some guys and see they can play. But, Jay, what you think about this? I think he's wide receiver 5. I think David Bell is making this team for one reason. Michael Woods is on IR. It's something about Michael Woods being with Deshaun Watson from, February to the time he got hurt that says something. This was a guy that, it was a lot of potential there. Deshaun Watson seemed to have that chemistry with him towards the end last year. So just think, if he didn't tear his ACL, David Bell might be on that cut list too with Schwartz and
I think
Grant
you're right.
I
think it'd be a much more nervous final week of the preseason for David Bell if Woods was still on the active roster.
And I said it like, you talk to people, and I was kind of surprised. When we was talking about DeAndre Hopkins, I talked to some people that's close to Sean Watson, and they said, look, he says this is the most talented core he's played with. And I said, I'll jump back a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, you like DPJ? Like, is that moving it or Elijah Moore? He's like, no, they got guys that you don't even ain't really seeing like that can really play.
Who said that?
This is somebody close to Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
And I'm like, I said, I had to go, I typed again, I said.
He showed me the text, he's not kidding.
I said, what you mean, like, best ever? I mean, you had DeAndre Hopkins, you had guys, what's the guy that went for
Brandon Cooks,
Will Fuller.
He didn't have Will Fuller.
Well,
he
these dudes move. They get it busy. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to see it.
Damn you, G, you're getting me pumped. You're getting me pumped.
Can I do my best bowl impression? This shit don't matter. Why y'all getting excited about preseason football?
You guys that sit up here.
Fans y'all mad at you. Bunch of slapdicks up here talking about preseason football.
I mean, come on now.
Come on now.
Jay, you're out of your mind.
I needed to hear that. Because my pendulum swings easily to the we're going to be great.
Like, look, I want them to be great. I want them to be.
I do too. That's the problem.
And
it's easy to be talked into this.
Like, here's one thing. Look at it. Bull up with it. Talked him up. He done pulled up. Now, he's like, I'm doing my best impression. You know what I'm doing? I'm sleeping on the entire preseason. I care less about him.
He goes into hibernation July 31st, and he doesn't come out until September 10th.
I don't even watch the Bengals. I hate their preseason games. I hate the Cubs. I hate the Cubs spring training. I hate it all.
We're talking about practice.
I mean, come on. You guys are sitting up here going crazy about a wide receiver who's in the USFL. Are you kidding me right now?
That's what he would say.
Matter.
That's what he would say.
Yeah, Boogie. He's hanging out with Boogie right now.
Well, I do wish Bo was here for this next segment, Earl, but I know we got a fast read first.
Yeah, we got a couple things we got to take care of on this fast read. Give me 1 second here.
Layups.
Take care of our PCC read. So we asked the poll, we asked the chat about the Austin Watkins conversation. And as always, when you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is your lead manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. And all locations of PCC Airfoil in Eastlake, Menor, Whitcliffe, and Minerva are hiring right now for all positions starting at $18 an hour and up. So you get full benefit packages, paid time off, and signing bonuses applied online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So we asked the poll, do you think Austin Watkins Jr. has passed Schwartz, Bell, and Tillman on the Browns depth chart? 772 votes, 62% say yes. While we're talking about that, shout out to, give me 1 second here.
In Earl's defense, it's very hard to hit all 17 buttons back there at once.
Yeah, Graham Dog. Shout out to Graham Dog, man. Graham Dog gifted 5 memberships, so
shout out
always showing love there.
Salute.
And then we have a super chat here. Says Schwartz this is from K Fresh Harris. Schwartz had a good game last night. Do you believe he'll have a good game next week? And I believe it was another one. Give me 1 second to find that one. But you can answer that question real quick.
I did think Schwartz, in the first quarter of yesterday's game, I think it was the second drive, he made a jumping catch with his hands, and I say that it wasn't a body catch, it was an extended hand catch getting hit. That's the best catch I can ever remember Schwartz making in his tenure here.
And one last super chat before we transition out to the next topic.
Yeah. He caught another little ball, too. Go ahead.
Brody's bottom line, he said Goodwin is not playing this year at all. I kind of tend to agree with that. I think when the Browns, did their press release on the entire thing, it just seemed kind of odd that they went that far, with the whole, just press release, and we've never seen nothing like that. We know blood clots is a serious thing, and Marquise Goodwin is a fan of the show, so we're definitely praying for him.
100%.
Now with that,
we got to get him back on too.
I know that we're supposed to move on to other things right now and talk about Jed Wills, but I guess this can go hand in hand because Jed's our number 14 in our 32 and 32. But the backup, I don't know where we are at running back. I didn't see a whole lot last night that
John
gave
Kelly
me any
no.
clarity.
Nope, I'm out on John Kelly. I'm out.
Are you?
I'm out. He got stuffed at the goal line.
Yeah, I don't.
Against last week. He fumbled on the goal line this week.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
He had a couple nice carries.
I think he had 8 carries for 20 yards.
It was very Anthony.
It was very pedestrian. He looked like a guy.
So is the third running back not on this roster right now?
I thought Felton hadn't played well either.
No, I don't either. Nobody.
Is it the guy they signed, Jordan Wilkins?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't get enough work. I thought they'd get a little bit more work yesterday.
Might as well use him,
You know what I will say this, though? When he came in and I was just watching him, he looks like a pro.
Yeah.
He's 28.
He looks like, okay, if he's our guy, I'm okay with him.
Yeah, these other two, Kelly looked like a dude off Madden with no spat. You don't even give him no special equipment. You'll give him a visor. He don't get gloves. He got the old school Gastineau finger tape on, elbow pads. Who wear elbow pads? But nobody wear no elbow pads.
I think the Browns' backup running back is playing for the Jets right now. You look at the Jets running back room, right, and you got a couple guys who's been in the NFL between 1 and 3 years that haven't had opportunities. A guy like Todd Johnson, not Bryce Hall, but Breece Hall. He's another one. So
Michael Carter.
They didn't trade him Breece Hall. That's not
Breece Hall. They are very high on Breece Hall. Breece Hall may not be ready to go though right away.
No, he's not going to play till week 6. That's why I signed Dalvin Cook.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Cook is a bridge.
The point I'm making that they're about 5 running backs deep.
Very deep.
You can go over there and try to see if you can get you a tailback.
They also have Zonovan Knight, which it's Donovan with a Z. Zonovan, great name. Who had 100 yards in his one start last year. So another guy who could possibly play.
All right.
But I agree. I don't think the third running back's on the roster.
Yeah, I just Felton to me looks like he's going to make the team as a special teams player. Looks like they wanted him to return kicks.
Didn't he muff a punt though yesterday? I mean, he ended up getting it and returning it. For
it wasn't pretty.
I think he fumbled it originally.
I don't think they want DPJ to be returning punts.
No, I don't think they do either.
And we haven't seen Grant, so that means he's definitely not.
What is the word on him? Why haven't we seen him?
Well, that's why when I asked who's getting left out of the receiver room, I have no idea if Grant's already gone or if they're like you're in a bubble wrap till you're in the season.
There's a couple dudes that's absent on milk boxes. Where Harrison Bryant don't play no more. I don't even know where
he's been hurt. He isn't practiced. He's been hurt.
He's not helping himself by not being able to get on the field.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's done. Grant looks like he's out of here. Jordan Elliott.
You know what we should do next
Where
week?
you at?
We should try to establish the 53-man roster and see how close we get to it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Before all the cuts are done.
Yeah.
We should try to. What is the roster? Like we know 45 of them probably are booked.
Yeah,
there's probably anywhere from 5 to 7, maybe as many as 8. I think Diabate is going to make some. Initially he wasn't penned in as a guy that I thought was even going to make the team.
I didn't even. I kept hearing that they like him. They like him. They like him.
Good size and moves well.
And moves damn well and can tackle.
We're gonna get to the defense, but I know we got to do 32.
Let's do Jed Wills.
Yeah.
Is he appropriately slotted at number 14?
Before you guys get into that, I do have to give you all the variants on how we voted on this. So, it was myself.
Oh, yeah, you told us yesterday.
Anthony and Earl, we voted. I had Jed Wills 7th. Anthony had him 11th. Earl had him 28th. 21 spot difference was the biggest variance in any single player on
I want to
this
hear
list.
from Earl. Why so low?
Does that mean he's not good, or you just don't think?
This wasn't the best player. This was the
most important.
The most important
It kind of
player.
goes full circle to what me and you talked about yesterday, the expectations.
Oh.
I don't think he's that good. And so I don't have real expectations for him.
Okay, that's
I am of the mindset that somebody is going to take his spot sooner or later. Because,
Who,
we're
DeJuan
talking
Jones?
about all these different positions. We're talking about, forget where somebody's drafted. You got to put the best players out there. We've talked ad nauseum about how important this season is. I don't trust Cedric Wills at all. I think he's a little lazy. I think he doesn't put forth the effort. I think he looks lost out there on the football field sometimes, and I don't think he cares as much as we care. And so for that, it's just I've seen enough. We talk about the Cade York thing. I've just seen enough.
You've seen it. Okay. That's interesting. And his logic makes sense. If he doesn't think that he's going to be there, then he doesn't view him as important.
No, the logic still makes no sense. So, I love you, man. You are my boy. Me and Earl, we had a serious conversation this morning off air about real life stuff. But in no world, Steve, give me a one shot, please.
he's taking over Bulls.
In no world,
he's taking over his persona.
In no world, regardless of the caliber of player at left tackle, is the left tackle, the starting left tackle of a football team, the 28th most important player heading into the season.
Now, wait a minute. What if that player's going to be benched, and by week 4 he's not even on the field? That's what Earl's saying is going to happen.
Earl, you saying he's not going to be the starter? Week 10,
he flat out said.
I'm telling you, man. By the bye week, we'll have a different starting left tackle. And it
Put that on the list
surprise
for
me.
worst takes of the year, Earl. No offense.
Listen, it wouldn't surprise me.
0%
We
chance
talk
that
all
happens.
Listen, Jay think Austin Watkins could be wide receiver 3. I guarantee you Callahan is working with Dwan Jones right now on his left tackle technique as well as his right tackle
But you can't just switch. And Tyvis has said it's not as easy
that's
to
a
switch
big
from
ask,
right to
man.
left
I'm not
in
saying
5
it's
weeks.
easy.
That's
But
like going from an innings eater in the bullpen to a front of the rotation starter. I mean, that is a big. Tell us about the difference in technique between right tackle and left tackle.
And before you go real quick, Earl, I'm with you. I don't love Jed Wills either. But 28th, your left tackle, there's no world where it's like when Bo was saying a special teams coach can't be more important than a starter, and I voted him over some starters. I just can't. Left tackle, in my opinion, second most important position in football.
That's cap. Steve, can I get a one shot? Hey, Jay, listen to me, man. Jay, listen to me. Don't let him sit up here and gas you up. We know what's up. This dude do not have it.
See, I'm kind of in between you guys.
No.
It's like I said at the start of the show, before you cut Cade York, that's just 30% of the fix. The bigger piece is who's taking his place.
That's why Jed Wills has to play. That's why he has to be more important.
When I watch Jed Wills, 80% of the time, I don't see anything that's outstanding or anything that's terrible. 10% of the time, I see him make plays and I say, oh, that's why he was drafted where he was drafted. There's another 10% of the time where I say, does he even know that the Browns are on offense right now?
Yeah, he looks lost. He's like
There are times where that happens. So what I need to know before I can firmly come down in one camp or the other, because I agree with you, if there was a better option, it would definitely, I think we've all seen enough that they would go with it. But left tackles don't fall out of trees. Tell me the difference between right tackle technique and left tackle technique.
Well, I just see, can I get a shot? We're
just calling for shots.
Let me
now.
get you the one shot.
Yeah.
Put on camera 3.
This is Jed Wills getting dog walked. There you go. Get away from me. What does that look like? Get away from me.
Getting dog walked.
Move out the way. You take that visor off.
And by the way, number 4 was in the game at that point.
Yes, and he got
But
hit.
is that Chase Young?
Yes,
That
it is. Move
Okay,
out of the
look,
way.
in defense of Jed Wills here, he's going against Hercules.
Chase Young didn't get his 5th-year option picked up, and he's playing like he's angry.
And Jed Wills
did, and he's playing like
Well,
he's soft.
that's a fact.
Look at that. See, I be trying to tell people about Jed. It's be like, yo, he's out there, and there's 3 to 4 plays where you don't notice it because there's some things covered up. Just like that. If that was Baker Mayfield or some other quarterback that wasn't immobile, guess what? That's a sack. I don't, just the way we talk about York, I do not trust on a 3rd and 5, Jed Wills lining up against a top-notch edge rusher and giving a good kick slide and giving us time to look downfield.
So how hard is it to turn Dwan Jones into a left tackle?
It's tough.
You're talking bblind now. Your
it's
kick isn't to the right swing; it's a left swing.
Yes,
Could have been done in 5 weeks.
You have to have the different footwork. The kick slide is a little bit different, but the reason why I say he can do that is that man used to be able to dribble a basketball off the dribble and put it down and lay the ball up and move around. If you could play basketball, you can move to the left-hand side because you're an athlete. You look at Hubbard, Hudson. I always call him Hubbard. You look at Hudson. Hudson plays left and right. The reason why he could do that is because he's a former D lineman. He got the footwork, right? So if you're working with that and you take extra snaps, it's not that difficult to do if you are an athlete, and DeJuan Jones is. For me, I just think the reason they gave him that was they will say, look, at least we're hedging our bet. At least we're not going to have anybody off the street doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. He's better than a lot of guys that options
when
other
Hudson
people
has gone in there, we've seen a huge
yeah.
drop off.
And Hudson gives up sacks because he's not as big.
Yeah.
Right? Because he don't have this size. He don't like if you looking at him, he's not a 330-pound mauler.
How big was Walter Jones?
Smaller.
Was he a lot smaller? Because when I watch him, the guy that I think of is Walter Jones.
You watch Jed Wills and think of Walter Jones?
No, DeJuan.
No.
I was going to ask for a drug test in
I've
here
never looked
immediately.
at Jed Wills and said, now there's a Hall of Fame lineman.
No, DeJuan Jones is bigger than anybody. DeJuan Jones.
Well, I know he's bigger than anybody that's ever done it.
He's 6'5", 320. Walter Jones 6'5", 325.
Okay, so they're on the same street. They're not only in the same.
6'8", 370 is different.
It's different. Yeah.
No, it is. It's different. But that's a big human being still. 6'5", 325.
Well, one's big, one's giant.
That's like me.
Yeah, G's 6'4", 320.
Yeah, that's me.
I thought you was like 6'2".
I didn't know you were 6'5".
No, when G stands up straight,
Yeah.
when he fully straightens
when
his knees.
Neck isn't.
Well, my neck,
when he fully straightens his knees.
This is documented. Now I'm not that big, but when I go look at DeJuan Jones, you talk about 6'8". Like, think about it. People always. That's why I say, "Hey, I'll tell LeBron to his face." No, LeBron is.
He will crush you like a can.
LeBron be way up here. Like that's the difference between 6'5" and 6'8".
I remember the first time I stood next to LeBron, and I'd watched him play for a couple of years at that point. The first time I actually stood next to him, I thought, "Oh my God!"
Like basketball players,
he damn near looked 7 feet.
Giannis, I saw Giannis in person, like courtside last year. Giannis is not if I'm a human, Giannis is not, and if Giannis is a human, I am an
aliens. They're aliens.
They're different.
It is. It really.
Earl,
is
I got
stunning.
a question for you, Earl.
Well, when you look at the tape of DeJuan Jones, everybody, the first thing they say is, "My God, that guy's huge," and he's standing next to huge men.
Yeah. He's so strong, and his length. The length is his wingspan. It's like I can't express how special of a trait that is to be able to kick slide and lock out on a man from here. Like he can
not just a man, a superhuman. Whoever he's blocking is a superhuman.
He can touch Jay from here. And then what do? Like this Stonewall, you're not running around him. You can't do that. If he gets a good, consistent kick slide and he gets his hands on you first, the play's over.
Yeah, it's mostly about getting your feet in the right position.
That's it.
Because if you're beat with your feet, your hands can't make up for it. Because the only way you can do it at that point is to grab them. So if your feet are moving and your hips are square and all of that is equal, and when Baldy did the breakdown of him, he's a pretty strict guy with praise.
Yes.
He was jumping off the tape at Baldy.
If you go back and watch the one-on-one matchups between DeJuan Jones yesterday and Nolan Smith of Philadelphia, the first-round pick out of Georgia? Jones won some. Smith definitely won some. I think he gave up 3 pressures last night.
It was a pressure that I'm thinking of specifically where he kind of dipped.
He dipped. He got under.
Yeah.
But that was a really fun battle because Nolan Smith's kind of the futuristic edge rusher. He ran the 4.3 in the 40.
That's
he's
crazy.
He's the one that caught Anthony Schwartz in the reverse. And
that's stupid.
Anthony Schwartz supposed to have track speed. So he's an athletic freak. And you have DeJuan Jones and his stature versus like the super size speed. That was a fun matchup. Go back and watch the one-on-ones. Earl, real quick. Do you think it's important for the Browns' success this season that Deshaun Watson remains upright?
Hell yeah, I do.
That he shouldn't be 28? And wait, are we getting a phone call? Steve, we getting a phone call? Do you hear that?
Yeah, we got something online.
Yeah, who's on line 1?
It's got to be Bull.
I don't recognize it. We can go to whenever you're ready.
Yeah, let's take it. Let's see who our guest is.
Hello, everybody. I'm Adam the Bull. I'm not on the show today, unfortunately. It's my son's day at school where we meet the teachers and all that hoo-ha. Is that a word? Hoo-ha? Did I make that up? It's a Mike Lucas special. I wanted to chime in, though, because Jedrick Wills, G. Bush's favorite player. Secretly, you don't all know this, but even though G. Bush rips him on a daily basis on the show, he is secretly his favorite player. They play Parcheesi once a week. I didn't know this. I just found out about this recently. But apparently they're big Parcheesi players. I'm not making this up. I know it sounds like a goof, but this is 100% true. Now, Jedrick Wills is apparently number 14, and there was a large variance here. I was told that Mikey McNuggets had him 7, that Anthony had him 11, and that Earl had him 28th. So what I'm trying to figure out now is this list. When I finally made my list, and I'll bring it in next week. I did it today, and I actually had Jedrick Wills number 9 because I had to clear it up with Mike. I said the list is not the 32 best players because we have coaches on there. It's the 32 most important pieces on the team. So how could the left tackle not be one of the most important pieces? Me putting him 9th, I thought, was a stretch just because I don't think he's that good that I pushed him down to 9. And even then I was like, he's the left tackle. He's got to be more important than that. So I thought I was too low at 9th. For Earl, I love you, pal. You know that. But 28th? Earl believes that Bubba Ventrone, the special teams coach, is more important to the Browns than their starting left tackle? Not to mention, with the Jack Conklin situation, right? I got Jack Conklin lower. He's a right tackle. If Jack Conklin gets hurt or whatever, I think we feel pretty good about DeJuan Jones maybe playing right tackle. Who would be their left tackle? When we've seen James Hudson, he's been absolutely awful. Listen, I know Jedrick Wills is not great, but I think we go over the top on our criticism for him because Joe Thomas was so great, and that's the one area on the field that we were used to greatness, and now we don't have it. Jedrick Wills can be a competent left tackle. He has been at times, but it doesn't matter how good he is. Left tackle is one of, if not the most important position besides quarterback on a team. So there's no way you can have the starting left tackle that low unless you had a clear, possible good option to replace him, which clearly the Browns do not. Jack Conklin can't play left tackle. DeJuan Jones is not playing left tackle. They haven't even worked him at left tackle. He's a right tackle. James Hudson, terrible when we've seen him there. Earl, I love you, buddy, but man, you are lost in the soup. And, folks, if you want to get involved in the Parcheesi finals with G. Bush and Jedrick Wills, call Jay. I'll tweet out his home phone number later.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Jay is the agent for the two guys, and he will set up those games. Guys, have a great rest of the day. Everybody listen to my podcast today. Kyle Brandt made some asinine comments on the NFL Network about covering Deshaun Watson. It's so hard to cover the Browns. It's so hard. Yeah, he was waxing poetic about Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career. Was it so hard to cover the Steelers? Is it hard to cover the Bengals? Joe Mixon's done some shady stuff. Give me a break. Don't be a phony, Kyle Brandt. I expect better. I like you. That's it. I'll see you guys all on Monday. Hasta mañana.
Steve, can I get a one shot? This man just really sat up here and said that sometimes we are too critical and overanalyze because Joe Thomas played left tackle, but yet because Miles Straw can't hit home runs, you act like he's not a professional. You act like he's not a stellar defensive player. You talk about over-criticizing a player. Bull, you are so lost in the sub sandwich right now, it don't make any sense at all, man. I expect better out of you. Bad take, Bull.
And I like him, too.
Serious question, though. And maybe this is far-fetched Friday because we are all jumping out the gym with stuff.
Shoot.
Batonio is an all-pro guard.
Yeah.
Right? Batonio was also a damn good left tackle in college. Now, we've seen situations to where he's had to kick out and play left tackle due to injury or other situations, and he held his own every single time.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. I know he's a veteran. But if you got some guys in the interior that can play left or right guard, that can step in and give you quality snaps, then I'm all for moving Joe Batonio outside and getting rid of Jedrick Wills. Wow. I do not trust Jed Wills at all. We talk about ad nauseum. Deshaun Watson, you got to do this year. Deshaun Watson, it has to be this, that, and the third. If Deshaun Watson is on the ground every other play, then it won't matter at all.
Yeah, I think that the rub here is that I believe you had him where? 7?
7.
I believe the mistake that you and Bull made in rating him that high is that you're rating the position.
Yeah.
And that when Bull was making his case, he was like, the left tackle can't be number. He can if he's not going to. If in and this is your opinion, and I respect it. If you don't think he's going to be in the starting lineup, guess what? He's not in the top 25.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then Earl should have put James Hudson 27.
I don't care about that. I'm not talking about James Hudson right now. I'm just talking about Jed Wills. And he clearly does think that this is going to happen. If Earl thinks that he's so bad he's going to lose his starting position, how can he put him in the top 22?
I mean, that's fair. There just has to be a starting left tackle somewhere in the top list. Then,
but the point Bull made that was good that I have to point out, it's what we started the show with. Okay, Cade York's not the guy.
Who is?
Before you pull that trigger, you have to know who is the guy, and you have to have him. That's why I always hate when teams fire coaches or managers,
Who's the
and then
new
they
guy?
say we're going to open a search. Well, that's putting the cart before the horse.
Have something ready.
You've got to have your next move in your pocket before you make that move. And I don't know who that guy's going to be to replace him.
And let's be clear, I can't say that, well, you can't try somebody out at that position because Jed Wills is a top 10 pick that they tried out. He was a right tackle at Alabama.
It's true.
So they moved him. Started him year 1, and it has not been like, it's not like, look at Tristan Wirfs. He came in, same draft class as him. And he came in out of Iowa, did his thing, and it's a wrap.
I wish they would have opened camp by saying we're going to look at DeJuan Jones at left tackle. I wish they would have done that. So we could have seen some game reps to see how he handles it. Because, clearly Jed Wills made the switch from right to left. And it can be done. We know other guys have done it.
I want to see, look, what I really want to see, I want to see DeJuan Jones at all the positions except for center.
You want to see him at guard, too.
I want to see him. I want him to be
What would that look like?
A massive giant in the middle.
Isn't he too big? Like, you got to find, your running back has to have a hole to run in.
Yeah. I want to see it because what I want to be able to do is say, he's my swing guy. If somebody goes down in the middle,
So
who can play that?
He's my 5A.
Yeah, 5A. Look, I could put him at left, right. And I would like to see them play him against the Chiefs at multiple positions. Put him at left tackle and see what he does.
Right.
Move him around a little bit because that guy is too big, too massive, too agile to be hanging out, not playing. He's already
Goal line, he's the tight end.
He's already on the tight end. He's already the tight end in my goal line. He's already the massive package.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I hope we see that.
Yeah, he's already.
All right, so a lot of discrepancy between Jed Wills and his rank, as high as 7, as low as 29.
28.
28, and he comes in at number 14 on our list. If you want to tell us in the chat where you think he is, go ahead and have at it. I think, I haven't even weighed in on it, but I think 14's a little high for me.
You think it's high?
I think it's a little high.
Again,
Again, I'm not rating the position. I'm rating the player that plays the position. You guys know, I've made no secret. Left tackle is the second most important position on the football team.
So I'm shocked that you're going so low with Jed Wills.
No, but I'm
Jay should have
marrying
said was-
in that the skill set of the player and what I expect of that player.
I'm with Jay on this. It's not about the position. It's about who's playing
but
the
if-
position.
Yeah, if
the
it was just
Browns-
about the position, then we could just the exercise should
Quarterback,
have been
left tackle,
rate
corner.
the most important
That
positions
pass
on a
rusher.
football field.
Well, but
there they would be.
I'll give you why I had him so high, and then we can move on. I know we got to talk about details.
Why you were so high?
Why
you had him?
why he
I
had him
missed
so
it.
high? He
Why?
may have been so high when he rated him so high.
Yeah, I've never actually smoked.
I haven't either.
Never smoked.
So I don't know what that
Never
feels
got
like.
into it. But yes, I think left tackle is the second most important position in football. So he is automatically, inherently, there is a position boost in this.
G. Bush does not buy that.
Do you think defensive end?
Yeah.
A lot of people
Okay,
say.
so 2 or 3.
I've talked to GMs that say this: quarterback and the guys that chase the quarterback are the 1 and 2 positions. I've also talked.
then
Your
three's
boy
the guy who
Dungy
protects
said it's
it.
quarterback and corner.
Yeah, I know, because look at the defense that he ran. Okay,
Yeah, that's easy.
so that kind of makes sense. However, I've also talked to GMs that say, no, it's the quarterback and the left tackle.
So it's 2 or 3,
because without
essentially.
the great left tackle, you could be without the great quarterback.
And the reason I have him so high is I think if Deshaun Watson, as Earl said, if he's running for his life, it doesn't matter what happens. You look at the Giants-Patriots Super Bowl 2007, 16-0 Patriots, best offense we'd ever seen. Strahan, Eumanure, Justin Tuck were in his pocket every play.
Moved him off his point.
It doesn't matter how good your offensive weapons are, how good your quarterback is. If your quarterback doesn't have time, it doesn't matter. Go back 2 years ago. Buccaneers, Chiefs Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, best player in the league. Buccaneers were in his face every time.
However,
if Deshaun Watson's if he does not have the time he needs to be successful, a lot of that pressure will be coming from the left side. That's why the list is most important players. Jed Willis, in my opinion, is way more important to their success, despite the fact I don't think he's great. He has to play well for them to be good.
But the thing of it
that
is,
justifies
in
my
your
reasoning.
scenario, when you talk about the Giants, you talked about a unit, okay? And what a great defensive line unit can do to a quarterback, particularly ones that like to throw from a point, from the pocket. Yeah. The difference here is the Browns have a Hall of Fame player at that position, and he hasn't made a difference for us because the unit hasn't been great. And that's going to change this year.
Now
we'll find out.
Here's why I devalue left tackle a little bit. Nowadays what I can do is if you got Joe Thomas on the left-hand side, who cares? I'll just run my pass rusher to the right side.
That's right.
And you're going to get worn out all game, and Joe Thomas is going to be like you can scheme around and you can scheme around a really good tackle. That's why when you talk about who's your best players, and the Browns' best players are a kicker, the left tackle, and a special teams returner. Those can't be your best players because you see what happened. They've won no games in one game with the best guys in the league.
The only reason that the defense, you can't scheme around a good left tackle. The only reason I place such a high priority on it is he's got the quarterback's blind side. That's it. Yeah. Even Tom Brady, who's mastered the art of ducking when an approaching lineman was coming to take his head off, you can avoid a straight-on clean hit. You can't from the back because you don't know he's there. Yeah. So he has to be he's got to be like a brick wall. And the better the left tackle, the quarterback's confidence starts to go up because he's not peeking this way. He's not worried about getting his head snapped off his body. Mm-hmm. So he can stand there and say, I just have to worry about pressure from the front and the middle. I don't have to worry about pressure from the back. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Earl, you got to read, and then we're moving on.
DTR,
I gotta read.
D, you gotta pause. D.
He surpassed.
As always, man, make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We did a thing this last week, man. We recorded the Behind the Glass podcast in studio. A lot of positive feedback. They liked the in studio look. They didn't like the fact that we were not live. So maybe if we can figure out a way that we can get Steve in here on a Wednesday night. We could probably go live.
Do you guys post the whole show? You edit the whole show?
There's no cuts. It's just
it's just a 3-shot.
Just that, we'd do it like the regular show, take some social clips from it. But we're having a long, fun time with that, man. We're looking at growing it. And so we appreciate all the fan support. Again, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Now you got 2 shows that you can look forward to on our network, man. And I'm pretty sure we'll be adding some more pretty soon.
I think so.
So with that, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was impressive yet again.
Yep.
The rookie continues to ball out in preseason. Did he do enough yesterday to solidify himself as QB2, or no matter what he does in the preseason, will he be QB3 this year?
First of all, when you say DTR, it has to be pauses.
My bad. Let's do it.
DTR. It's aura.
See, you got the aura with like that country long aura. It's just aura.
Aura. You know what I'm saying?
Like there's an aura around him.
Right. He just got it. You know what I'm saying? And we love his aura. We love his play. He looked crisp again yesterday. I thought he was making some plays, did his thing. They loved him in the league. You talk around the league, they'd be like, ooh, that 17 is better than 4. Listen, don't pump your brakes on that one. However, I will say he played very well. And if it was just on face value, he'd be in a cold competition with Josh Dobbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But That's not how it works at quarterback. See, there's levels to this thing. If you guys don't know that by now, quarterback positions and kicking positions are very political. Those are positions where you don't just be messing around with stuff. Like, they put Josh Dobbs on ice just because they know what he did last year. He's been around. That counts for something as a quarterback. Like, there's other things that you can't really throw in. You can never compare a quarterback to the rest of the people because on just face value, the quarterback, he knows, all right, how much he can absorb a play. Will he put us in the right position? They know more about Josh Dobbs and where he will and won't throw the football in cases of emergency.
Although he has made a bad throw this year.
Well, he has.
He had a pick.
But they like his track record. People love a good track record, right? Look, you know what? It's like being an anchor. If you have a rookie anchor right out of college, right? What if the teleprompter go down?
Better start ad-libbing.
Look,
I've seen it happen.
Right, that
It ain't
teleprompter, it ain't pretty. But so you want to go with the rookie? I like.
Boom goes the dynamite.
There it is.
Great
That
all-time
one of the
clip.
greatest of all time. Or you want to go with a veteran that can ad-lib, get us right into that next block like it's nothing. You didn't even know that teleprompter went down. He may not look as good as that young anchor. He may not have all that nice, pretty makeup on and all the good
And the hair.
And the hair. The hair is a big part of it. But that veteran, the old wily veteran, will get you through that broadcast. And if you want a backup quarterback, all you want is, if you out 3 games, give me a chance to go 2-1. If it's 4 games, we'll take 2-2. You just can't be 1-3 in the middle of a playoff.
Keep it afloat. I'm glad you mentioned politics, G, right there, because I hate politics. I've told you all. I try to stay as far away, but quarterback position is political.
Yes.
And in my mind, DTR has now surpassed FDR as the greatest 3-letter acronym person in the history of Cleveland. DTR over LBJ, over FDR,
Wow,
over
over
LBJ
LBJ.
2.0, Lyndon B. Johnson.
So he's the new deal.
Or
the new-
LBJ LeBron James.
He's the.
Well, he's better than LeBron and Lyndon B.
he got the new deal,
Yeah.
Jay. The new deal.
The newest deal.
DTR.
The newest
The
deal.
newest deal.
Exactly, yeah. No, in all seriousness, no, I don't think he'll surpass Josh Dobbs as quarterback, too, because as G alluded to, we've seen him in preseason. He's looked very good. I think he's actually looked better than good. I think he's looked really, really good. He's made very, very few mistakes. But you know what you have in Josh Dobbs, and when the situation gets into a chaotic situation when you lose your starting quarterback, all you want is to keep the boat afloat until Deshaun comes back. With that being said, 2 things about DTR did stand out to me last night. After John Kelly fumbled, Aditi came on the broadcast, and shout out to Aditi for asking Deshaun Watson about the beanie, by
First
the way.
question.
First
Why
question.
are you wearing a beanie?
She
We
did.
got,
6 degrees.
she's on Tuesday. We will make sure we
She's
give her
awesome.
kudos for that. She had the report that he went over to John Kelly, consoled him, said, hey, it's going to be all right. Let's get him next
had the
time.
video of it. It
They
was
had the
awesome.
video of it. And I'm not on side. I'm at A&M. I was on the sidelines, but that's a different situation than an NFL sideline. Aditi made the point of saying that's very uncommon. Then Joe Thomas echoed it for a 3rd-string quarterback in a preseason game to go
rookie.
over. A 3rd-string rookie quarterback
Yeah.
in a preseason game, making his first career start to show that kind of leadership. And as a quarterback, you want your guy to be a leader. Secondly, I understand he's not playing against starters, but you played high school football at a high level. Jay, you've covered sports for so long. When I was in Texas, we covered some schools that had 53 kids. And every once in a while, there'd be a kid from that school that goes Power 5. And it didn't matter if he was playing against absolute nobodies. You'd tell he was different. Mac McClung, when I was in Virginia, same way. Mac McClung played against a bunch of 4'3" white kids that couldn't jump. It didn't matter because he was that much better.
Yeah.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson looks like he could play in the NFL based on all the traits he exuberates and exhibits, despite the fact he's playing against 2s. I don't care. I think that translates to 1s. I'm not ready to say he's better than Deshaun Watson by any means, but he looks like he belongs in an NFL quarterback room as a number 2 at some point in
And
his
he got
career.
a 15-yard penalty
That was
for
awesome.
knocking a fool out.
That was awesome. Yeah.
He blocked somebody. Then he was like, hold on. I caught you slipping too. Let me give you some work too. Like he's running out here blocking. Now Deshaun Watson did say, hey, listen, that's cool this year.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
Don't, that is, Baker will tell you, do not run up trying to tackle people. That's not what we want y'all doing.
Look, if you're looking for the apex point of Baker's career, that was the play.
Don't tackle.
I mean,
Don't touch
remember,
him.
he was coming off a playoff victory and a
Yep.
near.
Yep.
They pushed the Kansas City Chiefs to the brink, a team that's bookended what they did that year with a couple of Super Bowl wins. That block
Yep.
That was the beginning of the end.
That was a spiral.
So if anybody knows the cautionary tale, it's Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
And I hope
told
he had a
him.
real firm conversation with the young man about how that might be really cool against Utah State when you were at UCLA. That is not going to fly in the NFL.
Especially, listen, I've been spooked. Last year changed my way I think about the quarterback position because, look, I just watched the 49ers melt their. I watched Nick Bosa out there and Warner and all those guys have no chance.
And with an all-time great defense.
And they were out there playing their tails off. And at that point, when you got Purdy goes down, and then I think was it Josh Johnson goes down,
Johnson, concussion.
and then you got McCaffrey and Kittle taking direct snaps, and then Purdy couldn't throw, he couldn't lift his arm over his shoulder. They're just running the ball out there, and it's just like, bro, you got to have quarterbacks. So now he will be on the roster. He'll be under that new protection of the broken glass type deal.
Right.
They put a quarterback on ice.
Break glass in case of emergency.
Right. Like you could put him in.
I think you guys absolutely nailed it. There's really no debate here. The question, though, was interesting. Did he do enough to be QB2? Yeah.
I think he did on the field.
He absolutely, and it's not debatable. When you look at his play, and then even separate from his numbers, when you just watch him play, and then you look at his numbers, you're like, oh, yeah, if you put a piece of tape over the last name on the jersey and change the numbers, well, yeah, you're going, if Dobbs was wearing Robinson's jersey, you're still going to come to the same conclusion. But it's political, and that's not how these decisions are made. And I'm actually going to support that in this instance.
Yeah.
You want your NFL backup quarterback. You talk about some GMs will tell you in the top 5 of important positions is the backup quarterback.
Yep.
Because we all agree one thing can happen this year, and the season is toast. Deshaun Watson goes down. It's a wrap.
Just don't say it out loud.
We saw it last year.
Just don't say it out loud.
Last year, and every team that is at the top of the pecking order, Kansas City, Buffalo, they're all one snap away from watching their Super Bowl dream drift away.
And generally speaking, a quarterback usually has one major injury in his career. Tom Brady had his with the ACL.
Right.
Dan
Marino had the Achilles.
Had the Achilles.
Brett Favre was wildly lucky.
Yeah, he was.
Durable.
Yeah, he was.
He broke the record for the most consecutive games started.
Steve Young had the concussion.
Peyton Manning had the
concussions.
Yeah, so they usually get one. So it's all about when you get them. And so you look at last year, Josh Dobbs arguably was DTR last year because he played better and more than Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
However, what did they say?
Jacoby's got the experience.
Got the experience.
He's been there and done that.
And it paid dividends because Jacoby got him seven wins.
I think they went out and got Dobbs for 3 reasons. One, he was familiar. 2, they saw what can happen with a backup quarterback, how your season can come unraveled.
Yeah. Yep.
So they wanted somebody that was familiar, that also had played well. But the most important thing to me was, and the reason Dobbs is back here, is because of what happened in Tennessee. When Tannehill is out and their season is in the balance, they bring in Dobbs, who played incredibly well. They did not lose those games because of him.
Yeah.
He played well enough to put the Titans in position to make the playoffs.
He scored 27 points against the Cowboys. They just gave up 41.
That's right.
That's not on Josh Dobbs.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
on a bad.
You score 27
defense.
points in the NFL, you should have a W next to
The
that
next game
line
wasn't
score.
nearly as good, but that first one was.
Right.
The Jaguars game.
Now,
not as good,
this is how I'll say it. If Dobbs comes in, should there be an emergency situation, and plays poorly for 2 games, so if there's a situation where Watson's going to be on the shelf for 4 or 6 or whatever, I think he's got a 2-game leash to do what we need him to do.
Yeah.
And if we don't see it, at that point, the season's slipping away anyhow.
Yeah, you got to make a move.
And here's the thing with guys, I feel so bad for young quarterbacks that go to teams that already have a good starting established quarterback. As much as I hate throwing the quarterback to the Wolves, if the year plays out the way the Browns plan on it, 2 years from, or next year in year 2, he's in the same spot. Well, we've never seen him do it. so we don't know if he can be the backup.
Right.
At some point, you got to put the guy in the game and kick the tires.
Yeah. So at some point, you hope, and then if he plays really, really well,
then he's the number 2.
and then it's the number 2, and then you can say, well, listen, has he transcended to that position where is he a Jordan? Is he a waiting in the wings guy? Is he, because that's a very hard thing to do, to transition from a guy who has no tape, who we like his talent, we drafted him, but is he? What do we have in him? Is he worth a draft pick? Should we trade him if he gets up to a number 2 pick, or is he the quarterback in waiting? Like
Deshaun Watson's young enough that we shouldn't have any thoughts of having a quarterback in waiting in Cleveland. I mean, he's 27 years old.
There it is.
If everything works out,
shouldn't.
He should be playing here for 12 to 15 years.
But you always got to have a backup.
If DTR plays this year, as much fun as we've had watching and talking about DTR for the last 3 weeks, if DTR sees the field in the regular season,
it's a bad thing.
It is a catastrophe. It is it means Deshaun Watson's been hurt. It means Josh Dobbs is
inconsistent
not playing well, and that means we are in a serious heap of trouble.
I won't go so far as to say it's a catastrophe, but I'll just say it's not good.
No.
If he sees the field.
Yeah.
If he has to come in a situation where Watson gets hurt and maybe for a couple of series or whatever, Dobbs can't go, that's okay. That happens. Third string quarterbacks, they see the field. Look what happened in San Francisco last year. If he plays extended minutes, if he's playing games and starting games, you're right. This thing got sideways somewhere, somehow, whether it was injury or otherwise, and it's not a good thing.
But I do think that we haven't even talked about the defense yet. But I do think if there was any season where they could absorb 4 games, it's with this roster.
Yeah.
They have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
They have a superstar at running back.
There's room for error.
There's solid receivers that are going to catch the ball for you, and it looks like they have a defense that's going to shut people down.
Sure.
So at least you could at this point you could tread water.
You just described the San Francisco 49ers season last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
If someone would have told any 49ers fan last year, Brock Purdy's going to be your guy,
They'd have laughed you out.
He was Mr. Irrelevant.
They'd have laughed you off.
I mean, DTR was a 5-year starter at a Pac-12 traditional
for
power.
an NFL coach who runs an offense that is intricate and
Very
translates
intricate.
right to the
Exactly.
NFL.
So, I would have a much higher degree of comfort with DTR than Niners fans last year would have had with Brock Purdy.
Oh, yeah.
Most Niner fans are like, well, that's it, our season's over.
Out of here.
And it wasn't over. In fact, Mr. Irrelevant became Mr. Relevant. And then when he got knocked out, their season was over, which is the irony. All right, we have breaking news, I'm told, from Earl before we move on to our next topic.
Yeah, breaking news in the NFL, according to Adam Schefter. Let me get into it right now. Former Cleveland Browns Jadeveon Clowney has agreed to sign with the Baltimore Ravens. So it looked like we're going to be seeing a couple guys who used to wear orange and brown this upcoming season now wearing purple and black. So Jadeveon Clowney to the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, that's that on that. And
I don't love that.
Yeah.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
I don't either. I don't either. It's just
Because
something.
there's a saying in life, you know this saying well, something along the ways of hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah, I lived that.
He's obviously not a woman, and I'm not saying that he is.
yeah.
Jadeveon, don't take this personally.
Don't run up on me.
But he's been scorned.
Yeah, he's
Okay, he got run up out of here in a very embarrassing way.
And
how would he, what's the number one on his wish list? Oh, let me see if I can get to Deshaun Watson and do some damage. And that's scary.
So listen, that is a game where this is now turned. This is
two games.
This is 2 games where you got OBJ who was run up out of here.
You got Watson versus Lamar.
It's the ex-wives club.
Jadeveon Clowney ran up out of here. And it's Harbaugh who said a lot of different stuff about Deshaun Watson and how he wouldn't have been in our organization doing all that. We ain't giving up no money for that. This is turning out to be a very, very contentious little couple of games here, and it just goes to show you that
it always was before, but now it takes it to another level.
AFC North is the most competitive division in the
I said that yesterday, and I stand by it.
It's week 4,
McNuggets.
Right?
What was you saying about Jet Wills again?
Oh, okay.
Does this make him more or less important?
It makes the left tackle more
Bump
important.
him up the list. He's not
I don't know if it makes Jet
tomorrow.
Wills more important. But it
Did you
definitely.
see me and Jay's initial reaction? It was like, come on, man.
I know.
Damn,
when
really?
you said that, I'm like, oh God, please tell me this is a joke.
Now, I do want
I was going to say he went to Kansas City, or
Nope.
he went.
That's even
somewhere-
worse.
He's
even
coming
in the
here.
AFC. No, it's not, because we have to see him twice. We have to see this cat twice. And I'm telling you, and you know this as well as anyone, in baseball, there's a funny phenomenon that's always happened.
Yep.
When players get traded, for whatever reason,
have
you
big
can look
games.
at their line scores
It's the
against
the
all the
revenge
teams
game.
in the league, and their highest average and most production is always against the team that gave up on them.
Always.
Well, that was like when
Always.
Sherm went from Richard Sherman
Yeah.
from Seattle to San Francisco for
Yes.
the year. He said, I wanted to play Seattle twice. I wanted to pro them that they made a mistake and let me go.
Right.
On the flip side, and just to put everyone's nerves at ease a little bit, Jadeveon Clowney was not good last season. So he may just be past the cliff. And I do agree with you. If you have to see him twice, hopefully he's not saving all his energy for those two performances. But let's not pretend this is prime Jadeveon Clowney they're bringing into Baltimore.
No, I'm not.
This is
No,
a,
but
on the
angry,
back end
it's
side.
angry Jadeveon
Real quick,
Clowney.
we got a reaction on this breaking news from Bull.
I wonder what Bull would have to say about this.
Yo,
He's
Yeah, I
crying-
can tell you what he'd have to say.
He's crying for
Ah,
Joe
don't worry
Burrow.
about him. He's old. He sucked here.
I mean,
last year.
guys, like, listen, everybody calm down. Jadeveon Clowney was terrible last year for the Cleveland Browns. He would not go in on first and second down, and you're worried about this guy? It doesn't matter. It's Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, if he plays like a top 5 quarterback, the Browns will be good. If they don't, the Browns will be terrible. This is what it is, G.
You got it, brother. That's it.
So
G
with that,
Bull.
G-Bowl.
with that, tying that all together, Aditi said on this show a couple weeks ago that she was looking for the Cleveland Browns defense to play with a certain attitude, with a certain style of play. And I understand it's preseason. I understand we have not seen the bulk of the starters. But is this Cleveland Browns defense legit? Can they carry this attitude
Yes.
over?
Yes.
Yes.
They just look different. Even the backups.
Yeah.
The backups look
I
different.
wanted to ask you specifically because you've watched a lot of bend but don't break here in Cleveland. Even
Seen
with
it
Marty
all.
Schottenheimer, they have never been aggressive like that.
No, they have not. And you can only imagine what it's going to be when the Jimmies and Joes change places, but the X's and O's stay the same.
Yeah.
I love this defense with backups.
I
There are
like it.
third stringers flashing in this defense.
They fly.
This Diabate guy, who I knew was on the roster, but only knew that he was from Utah and transferred to Utah from Florida.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden I'm looking at him like, who the hell is this guy?
He's on the tape. 43, you can't turn on the tape for more than 2 plays without
He
seeing him make a
flashes on every play.
He's everywhere.
I couldn't take my eyes off of him yesterday.
Do you know what was the biggest standout to me on defense yesterday, though? Or the biggest takeaway? How bad Marcus Mariota is.
Oh, yeah.
I honest to God felt like
Yeah,
he's
no,
throwing,
I think we already knew that. But
he
now,
was throwing some duck. Like,
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, he has the temperament of a youth group leader. Like he does the teen night at church. Like he's like teen night. They do really they really do
He's a church
really
mouse.
really friendly things like juice parties and stuff. It's just and cookies and just no holding hands because that's not godly. We just look at each other.
And that's not
on
to
teen
take
night.
away from how the Browns defense played, because the Browns defense did play very well yesterday.
They're great.
And they fly. They're aggressive. It is literally like watching two completely. You said about taking the names off the back of the quarterbacks' jerseys.
Yeah.
If you put these guys in generic black and white uniforms, the guys we saw in the preseason game versus the Browns defense last year, and for the most part, in theory, the same guys that were
A lot of the same guys, but
It looks complete. You would have no idea that that's the same group of players. No idea.
our linebackers looked good yesterday.
They move. The defense. Shelby Harris, by the way, he gets off the ball fast.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a problem.
He gets off the ball fast.
God, I wish we were at week
Best-
1. I
best-
wish kickoff for week 1 was right now.
Best thing Aditi said. This is so crazy. Remember last year I used to be going crazy about Joe Woods, and the reason why Myles Garrett is going to break the sack record this year and have more tackles for loss, and his team is going to be fun to watch on defense.
23 sacks.
Is because he said something. He says, Didi said, "Why do you like playing in this?" He says, "I don't got no responsibilities, none." He said, "I
Get to the quarterback.
Now plays are happening organically where it's my instincts tell me go over there and do this." And I couldn't do that before under certain people. I had to do this and be a robot.
And you could tell he was frustrated
Yeah, he
with
was
the chains
frustrated.
that were put on him by Joe Woods.
And now when you just say, guys, every play is a race and a sprint to the ball. Man, a guy with that talent, you're going to start to see his get off, his quickness, his agility, the power. These guys, and it just seems like the rush lanes are so different because even when they're bringing 4, it just seems like the pocket is collapsing.
Right.
And hands are getting up. I'm like, wow, they ain't blitzing nobody. And even when they do blitz, when Schwartz comes with those A-gap blitzes,
Which he did yesterday,
I'm like, I don't. This is a jailbreak blitz. I mean, I don't understand.
It looks like it.
How would you block that? You can't. Somebody's going to come free.
You know, the word that, and you'll know this because you played the position. The word that I've heard used a lot by defensive linemen that played in a strict assignment-oriented defense like Joe Woods.
Yeah.
And then they went to somebody like Jim Schwartz was, it's so liberating.
Yeah.
I've always heard that word.
Feel free.
Liberating. And now I'm going to ask a question that you guys might look at me funny. Was Jadeveon Clowney onto something?
Well, he didn't want to play, so I refuse to listen.
No, he didn't want to play because he had a real problem with the system and the defensive coordinator. But by the way, the defensive coordinator ended up getting run up out of here too.
Dude, he was. To me, and you know what? You know how I talk. Listen, I'm all for mine. I had people coming up to A.G. Bush, man. You get a brother some slack, man. You getting a brother. You on Joe Woods. I said, listen, I don't work for the NAACP. I don't work for the Rainbow Coalition. He's a garbage. He's not good. He's not a coordinator. And people are like, hey, man, come on, man. He may never get another job. I said, well, look, bro, I'm sorry. I can only call it like I see it. This man was incompetent. How can you have Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett and you got these dudes out here playing like robots? You're not blitzing nobody. The defensive secondary don't know what's going on.
That's why I asked you, was he onto something?
They hated playing for that defense. Yeah. They hated it. And you know what happens? When you know somebody is terrible and you're putting your time, energy, and effort into it, and you know that everybody knows he's incompetent, when the head coach continues to trot him back out there.
That's why we were advocating to get rid of him during the season.
You lose respect and you don't want to play.
Yeah. And that's where he was.
Yeah,
because he knows I've got so many snaps left in this body, and I'm wasting every single play that I'm in there on a guy that everybody around us knows can't win. And now he probably went about it the wrong way, but you said something earlier about maybe Cade York. It's just wrong time.
Wrong time.
The whole team's good. Not a good time to have a bad kicker. Maybe Jadeveon Clowney just the wrong time.
It was
the wrong coordinator and the wrong time.
He was at the wrong part of his career to be sitting. He's sitting here thinking like, well, look, I'm taking 1-year deals, doing this, that, and the third.
Right.
I have a problematic knee that swells up. I got to ramp myself up in conditioning and training and treatment to get myself out there. And you got to think about it. He's not invested in them. They didn't draft him. He didn't play here 5-6 years,
right?
And do what Myles Garrett does. So he's going to be way more vocal than Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett's like, yo, I'm the franchise player. I'm getting mine. They love me here.
Could you see Clowney being a factor in this Ravens defense, which is already a good defense?
Ravens always good. Yeah. To your point about was Clowney onto something? Damn. The answer is probably yes, but I think everyone was onto something. I mean, G. Bush had been saying Joe Woods is running the wrong defensive scheme with these players.
Since 19.
We talked about it in the preseason last year. Remember, we saw things in the preseason where they got to make a change.
I mean, if you look at the defensive line,
Brad Sellers, Brad wanted him fired. I think after one preseason game.
Let's go unit by unit. Defensive line, seemed to be too constricted, not the freedom they needed, and in the interior,
defensive backs tackles, were running into each other.
Defensive backs, the communication.
They were playing, he's not my guy, he's your guy.
They were playing zone with guys who were better at man.
But nobody acted on it.
Well, that's my point. Jadeveon Clowney may have voiced it, and because he voiced it from inside the locker room, it got more credence. But let's not pretend that was a massive revelation to the people who talk about the Browns on a daily basis. We had, since the beginning of preseason, questioned, is this the right scheme for the players on the Browns roster?
We knew
we saw it happen in front of our own eyes that it clearly wasn't. And there were no changes made from week 1 to week 18.
None. That was the other thing
that drove us nuts. And that was the most baffling part. So, in a way, I know it got him out of here, and it really tarnished his reputation in Cleveland.
But he might have been right.
Clowney, don't shoot the messenger.
John Johnson might be able to play. He going back to the Rams. I mean, think about it.
No, you're right. You're right.
Troy Hill came
Troy
here.
Hill went back to the Rams and looked like the player he was before he got here.
Troy Hill, they gave up picks for this man and money and all kind of other stuff. And they like, yeah, we got to get. I'm like, bro, is it everybody or is it your defensive coordinator? Who is it?
Yeah.
All of them can't be garbage. Everybody terrible?
Right.
And we knew the
Especially
talent.
with Hill because he was the sample case. He had a body of work before he played under Joe Woods. Then he came to Joe Woods, and we were like, wow, this guy can't play football. Then he went back and was productive again.
He just didn't put people in the right position. And I'm looking at it like this. They found some diamonds in the rough because the Ronnie Hickman guy, he has 3 interceptions. He had another one last week. And isn't it so refreshing to see what happens when you're under pressure? And you actually
gotta make plays.
You take the fight to somebody else for once.
Yeah.
Instead of taking a fight, right?
They're the aggressor. They weren't the aggressor at any point last season. And in 3 preseason games, regardless of who's been on the field, the starters for one drive, and half the starters, like Myles Garrett, didn't play. The 3s and 4s in the Hall of Famer and the 2s and 3s yesterday, they're the aggressor on defense. They are making the offense react to what they're doing. And it's so refreshing to see with the amount of talent they have in all 3 levels. They're not waiting. They're making the other team react to them, not vice versa.
Kelsey said it. He said from end to end, the Browns got some of the best players, some of the best players in the league.
The front 7 is one of the best he's seen.
He's seen, and trust
he
me,
he has seen them.
This guy. I mean, these guys understand. And when I told him, when Jim Schwartz, and he's a no nonsense guy. When Jim Schwartz is out there letting everybody wear jewelry, I seen the whole starting team on the field. I'm like,
yeah.
Dang.
They got their swag back.
I said, wow, everybody got a chain.
We got 5 minutes, but I got to ask y'all about this particular player because he hasn't came up, but I'm pretty sure he's jumped out on film to us in the last couple games. Is Mo Hurst back? Maurice Hurst is out here balling.
Can I say something?
Keep rubbing your stomach, Mo Hurst.
Togi got a sack.
Yeah.
Even Tommy got one.
The thing with Mo
You
Hurst,
ain't got no job,
You ain't
Tommy.
got no job, Tommy.
the thing with Mo Hurst is when he's been healthy, he's been really good.
Mo Hurst look good.
He actually,
he's
like,
got to be healthy.
Whenever he's played,
But that's a good.
he's
that's
been
a good,
productive.
That's a good point, Earl.
He just hasn't always stayed healthy. Yeah. And if he can stay healthy, that defensive line rotation
They're gonna
just gets
come at you
better
in
and
waves.
better. And Mo Hurst, he's a 2nd-round pick, I believe, and he only dropped to the 2nd round because he had a medical condition.
Yep.
And then it's, like he's only played 2 games in the last 2 seasons because of health. But when that guy's been on the field, back to high school, college, even in the NFL,
He's a force.
he's been a disruptor.
Yeah.
And one more thing on
We're gonna say
Diabate?
diabetes is gonna be
It's not diabetes. It's Diabate. He had the safety, the forced fumble. The way that dude is relentless in his pursuit of the football.
Look at that.
Regardless of where it is on the
6'4",
field.
225.
He's a physical freak, but it's the effort too. Like it's the little things. We talked about Jed Wills earlier, and sometimes he gives on plays.
This was everywhere.
This is the kind of guy that if he was playing against the Browns and Nick Chubb had an open burst and was going 70 yards downfield, the first player trying to catch him is going to be this guy. Yeah. And there's something about that's enticing.
You think he's going to be in the
and
starting
contagious?
lineup?
Oh no, he was gonna start.
Nah.
He's starting.
Over?
Taki is not even playing yet. He's not. Taki not gonna be ready for 4 or 5 games.
We're only starting 2 linebackers, so you got JOK and
In a base package, they're gonna come with Anthony Walker, JOK at the wheel, and you got this guy playing Sam linebacker on starting off on rundowns. Now think about it like this:
in passing situations, when they only have 2 linebackers on the field, they'll be off.
Now listen, if Anthony Walker is not A1 grade 1 cover guy, I like the way. Do you imagine the speed with him and JOK? Because JOK act like he want to understand and recognize and move around a little bit.
it'd be the fastest linebacker tandem in football. I don't know off the top of my head, but I have to imagine those two.
Moving like that. I mean, the Browns have guys. Juan Thornhill back there. You got, and we haven't even seen Grant Delpit. That's so crazy. We haven't seen Grant. Think about this. We ain't seen Greg Newsom ain't played a snap. Ward ain't played a snap. Delpit ain't played 1 snap. Walker, Taki, Myles Garrett.
Half the starting lineup hasn't played a single
hasn't
snap
touched
in
the
preseason.
field.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Insane. Shout out to Schwartz, because I think this is probably one of the best defensive play. Like
depth.
Depth.
The depth is there.
he talked about in one of his film sessions about how Javon Curse changed his mind about certain things. He was like, look, I'm not about to have these do container. Javon Curse can't be stopped anyway. And if you're a right-hand quarterback scrambling to your left, you can't even really throw the ball. So why have him contain?
It's true.
I said,
there are some people, though, that don't like that philosophy.
hate it.
Well, it's sometimes you can give too much freedom, and
Yeah.
there has to be some structure. And we're going to see the Browns went from
We gonna see.
completely structured to the complete liberation and freedom of a defensive scheme. So
Yeah.
I got to
There is
imagine
a
this one
book
works
out
better.
there that all offensive coordinators have on how to beat the Jim Schwartz defense.
Oh, listen.
Now, you got to execute it,
Inside
but
zone.
there's a blueprint.
Draw and screen is going to be huge.
That's exactly right.
Draw and
That's
screen
exactly
is huge.
right.
It's crazy. Like if you're a draw and screen team, if you get the ball out quick to the receivers, tight end screen, all that's in it, and then it makes you think because now they're running upfield, and now you got to have the defensive line
gotta
coming
tackle.
back.
Here's my ending thought of the day. When we take the field against Cincinnati, when you take into account what our kickers look like and how little we've seen all of our starters, there better not be any rust.
No.
Because if there's rust, their
Yeah.
philosophy of getting players ready for the season is broken.
Jimmy Donovan did say he expects them to play significant,
They are gonna
quote,
play.
significant
Yeah,
time
they
against
should.
Kansas City. I hope
They
it's a
should.
half.
And
it
I
three-
hope that's enough
is
to
it
get
three-
them ready for what most people believe is either the best or the second best team in the AFC. Because in 3 consecutive weeks, they're going to see the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. So far, we're 0-0-1.
Hopefully, Bull is looking like that after the Bengals loss.
That's a great. We need to keep that. Overtime is next. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday.